Yeah, and that's another one I think would just be too. It would just be impossible to fake, especially at that time for them to fake the moon landing. I don't think. I don't think. Honestly, I think you flat earthers. I think y'all give the government too much credit. I don't
No,
think you
dude,
really
you gotta,
understand how incompetently dumb the United States government is.
you gotta look how
Yeah, they're pretty
ridiculous.
dumb.
No, I don't think so. You gotta look how ridiculous the idea it is that you think that it's harder for them to fake going to the moon than it is to go to the moon for the first time in human history. Like, do you see? Like, that's. I mean, just come on. Like, we could all agree that's a little bit ridiculous, right?
Nah.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, I'm absolutely serious.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
the tech you
top
need for
secret. Yeah, hold on,
the
top
wall of
secret.
light. Yeah, and
Hold on, top secret. You can
like the
understand what I'm
rooster
saying
tails
about this, right?
on the lunar dust getting kicked up by on Apollo 16 and 17.
Hold on.
Like
Besides from,
there's a paper that was done.
hold on,
Go ahead.
brother. 1 second. Just on its face, though. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you could at least agree with me that it's completely like they could have very well faked the moon landing versus like let's say successfully went to the moon kind of a thing. Like
No.
we could easily fake the moon landing and have it done in production. Like that would be an easier task for mankind than actually the great achievement of going to the moon, though, right?
I
No.
don't even think they could do it now.
I'm just saying,
I would argue that they couldn't even fake it
that's
now.
crazy to me that you think like the greatest of achievements of mankind is easier to do than for us to theatrically fake that we did it. Like that's crazy to me that you would entertain that idea.
Yeah, you should look at the rooster tails
You should look
from
up
Apollo
the
16 and
Ash
17.
conformity test. You know what the Ash conformity test is?
No.
No,
Oh.
but no, I mean they would have to be in a giant elevator that's also a vacuum chamber. Like there's facilities like the entire soundstage would have had to been like basically in free fall or close to it.
Or they just would have used harnesses and like used like anything in front of the camera they could essentially manipulate. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
trick you into believing. Like they've been very good at that for quite a while. Now I'm just trying to say, like, regardless of the validity of the moon landing, what you guys are proposing is that it would be harder for us to recreate going to the moon in some theatrical thing, something we've been doing since the Roman ages or whatever. And like versus actually go to the fucking moon, first time ever in humanity, greatest achievement of mankind ever. You think that that was fucking easier than reproducing it in a fucking studio?
Yeah.
Correct.
At that time, yeah.
That's so retarded, guys. That's
Okay.
I'm gonna be
insanely,
honest with you. I'm not sure they
that's
can do that shit
insanely the
now.
dumbest. Like you might be the
This
dumbest
stage.
motherfuckers I think I've ever talked to. Come on, bro.
I don't
At
think you
least you can.
understand what
At least
all
you
when
can
it what
admit.
goes into
At
that.
least you can admit that yes, mankind could fake it, but we also went to the moon. Like that would be the logical response.
I don't think we have the tech to fake it.
Oh my
I don't
god,
think,
you could stop.
especially back then,
That's
dude.
just
Back then, we definitely
hilarious. You
didn't have
guys
it.
are just a joke. You guys are trolling me, right? That's hilarious.
No,
No, once again, you can Google me. Like if you're interested in, I'm
Yo,
not
I'm all
trolling you.
good, top secret. I got you. I believe you. I'm just saying that fucking. I just think that that's ridiculous that you think that it's easier to go to the moon, right? Which is the first fucking mission mankind ever made to the moon. That's fucking easier than us creating a theatrical replication of something like that. That's
Do you know
bananas. That's
do you
bananas to
know
me. That you think
why?
that that's a
Do you know
fucking.
real quick? Do you know why Apollo 11
That's
was the one that
laughable,
landed
dude.
for the first time on the moon? Do you know why? Do you know what happened to Apollo 1 through 10?
I mean, regardless, this is a different point. It has nothing to do with the point where I just made. All right. Okay.
No,
So
but 11 was a
what's the
small
point?
step increase. Yeah,
What
11
happened?
was a
Sure.
small step increase. Like you had 10 missions beforehand that all like pushed the boundary further and further, incrementally. It wasn't just a boolean we didn't do it then we did it, right? And
Yeah,
all of
but I'm
those
not.
are
I'm not even talking. Like I said, dude, I'm not even talking about the validity of the fucking moon landing. I'm just saying that you got. I'm just talking about the ridiculousness of the fact that you're saying that it's fucking easier for us to build a rocket, go to the moon, and come back than it is to fucking fake it. Like, you could totally wholeheartedly believe we went to the moon and shit, and that's fine. What I'm trying to say is that to say we couldn't fake it and that would be more impossible than us achieving like mankind's greatest achievement. Like, and another question I have, because you guys tend to always answer this the same. Do you guys think going to the moon is a big deal?
I'd say not really.
Not really, right? Is that your answer too over there, bud? Top secret.
Not
What do you
not
got?
really. What the fuck?
I know.
What are
Hold on,
you
hold on.
talking about?
Exactly, exactly. It's hilarious. Like you guys are just like, oh, well, it's just like an average fucking Tuesday, bro. We just go to the moon and shit. Like it's the dumbest, most ungrateful, unfucking appreciative, unscientific attitude about like it. Seriously, if you believe it to be the case, it's like the greatest achievement of mankind, and you guys are like, yeah, we could have done it like a little bit cooler.
No,
Like, and
you can always do better.
there's no way that we could ever fake it. Like, that's more ridiculous than fucking us going to the moon. That's
I mean,
fucking
I
dumb.
don't think I personally don't think they could have faked it
I'm
back
not
then.
surprised you don't, bro.
I don't think they could today. I'm not sure, but I don't think they could today. But back then, I'm 100% positive they couldn't fake it back then. Do you think the Artemis missions are fake? You think that was fake? You want
Oh,
to just
and
answer?
gay, and gay.
Right. Why do you think those were fake? Do you understand? Like those were being tracked by people the whole time.
So was fucking what's his name? Oh fuck, what's his name?
Santa Claus.
Damn. No, I can't think. Smoking the Bandit. Smoking the Bandit was tracked too.
Oh, I thought you
But I'm
were saying
saying
Santa
like
Claus.
I don't. I get that they were tracked. Like that's cool, and like I just don't know if I accept some of the validity of it then. But I mean, I just think it's all good, man. If you think, I just can't really, I can't entertain much beyond the idea that you think that it's more ridiculous that we tried to, that we couldn't fake it.
I mean, listen. When you ask me that, what I think of when you ask me that is it possible for them to fake it like in 19, whatever the fuck, when was that, 63, I want to say, when it happened? Could they have faked it then? Maybe. Would they have been
Yeah,
able to
you ever
fool
look at the
everybody?
fucking footage,
Would
bro?
it?
Jesus Christ.
Would they have been able to fool every person for this long? No. I mean, that footage has been broken down frame by frame over the last fucking 60, 70, 80 years, however long ago that was. Our government isn't that competent.
Our government
I
isn't
did
that
a
competent, but they went to the fucking moon. Okay.
I appreciate with the Artemis missions they kept all the metadata on all the photos so you can see exactly the sensor and when it was taken. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, all of the stuff that they did with Apollo, I mean, they have fucking just rooms full of papers, all the rockets and the technology that they used to get to the moon, dude. The footage, so much footage. Oh my god, you're saying all that is fake, right? And this footage has been broken down ad nauseum. Then she won't question that one time that you lied and you're fucking your mistress. You know, same way with the government. Oh, we're gonna tell them the truth about this and this and this and this, but we're gonna lie about this. They won't suspect a thing. So it's like I'm of the mindset of if the government can lie to you about something, 9 times out of 10 they will. But I do think the government is smart enough to know about the things that they just can't lie about. You know what I'm saying? Shape of the Earth being one of those things. Going to the moon being another one. No, the government lies about all kinds of shit. Some things that I do believe the government may have lied about. I'll give you an
What about
example like
9/11?
9/11. I was just about to say 9/11.
So
9/11, I
what do
believe
you what is your normie theory?
on 9/11. 9/11. I don't know. I think it was hit by terrorist organization, but I think that the government knew about it before it was going to happen, and they just let it happen. That's what I think. Now, they have some people who think that the government orchestrated the whole thing. Now, that I don't believe. But
You
would
actually
I put
think
it
there was
past the government?
planes flying around? Do you think planes were flying around an hour off of course, flying around in circles and shit, and nobody would stop them? Do you think that holes in the ground in Pennsylvania would be there weeks before the actual crash happened, and there would be no debris in the hole, just a bit of smoke coming out? You actually
Silly.
believe that? You believe that a maneuver impossible with the 747 and impossible if you're not an expert pilot in a different plane that isn't a 747, impossible in a 747, but if in not a 747, it would still take like an ace fighter to do that maneuver. You think that actually happened to hit the Pentagon? Like, you think actually someone did a maneuver that you need to be an ace pilot to do and also is impossible in the plane they're doing it with? You think that? I mean, you think all those things just mean that the terrorists did it?
I mean, look, you just hit me with a whole bunch of shit I don't know. That's something I would have to look more into. Like I said, 9/11, I believe that the
So I knew
government
you
knew
had a
about it.
normie theory, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would never argue with a motherfucker about 9/11. All I'm saying is, in my mind, I think the government absolutely knew that it was going to happen. They just let it happen. Now, whether or not the government orchestrated or they had ace pilots, where the fuck you're talking about, could
Well,
very well be
no,
possible.
no plane crashed in Pennsylvania, and no plane crashed into the Pentagon. And all the film of the planes in New York City are all under different trajectories or different planes. Hence, all the film is tampered with before we got it.
Oh, hold
Hence, we can't really look at a video and determine that a plane. We can determine that definitely planes did not hit Pennsylvania or a Pentagon. And we can't determine if a plane hit the towers because all the videos are doctored, edited footage.
you see what you do, Noah? See, Noah, bro. As soon as I try to rock with you, bro, you be going to fucking crazy land. So now you're telling me that it wasn't even planes that hit the towers. So what hit them?
No, I said we cannot confirm nor deny if planes hit the towers because all the videos that we have of planes hitting the towers are all fake.
Yeah, I
Just like
had
we
one
can't
that said
determine
it
if
had.
men walked on the moon because all the videos we have of that is fake.
Dude, fuck a video. It was
I
people
had a
outside.
I had a video from somebody's phone, and it was no planes hitting the tower, and it got banned off Facebook and ripped off my phone, and it's gone. I can't find it. It's gone.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I heard that theory. I think Q was
What was
hitting me
that?
with that theory of the holographic plane shit. I think the
I didn't say holographic. I said the video footage we have of planes hitting towers are all fake. They all discredit each other. All of them are on different trajectories and all of them show different objects, different types of planes flying around. So they all kind of just, if one's true, all the other ones are not true.
I have to see that. You know what I'm saying? I have to see the evidence of that.
Would you like me to DM you something?
Yeah, you can DM me anything. I'll look. I'm
Okay,
just saying.
got you.
I have to see
Hit you
that.
with a base. Hit you with a basic.
But yeah. So like I know I understand our government lies. You know. Government is very corrupt. Very evil government. Tend to do a lot of evil shit with money and sacrifices and all kind of shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you like the most basic one. Now there's a lot more in-depth ones, but I'm just gonna give you like the most basic, action-packed, densely informative one yet. And it'll take you to rewatch it a couple times. But yeah, here you go. I don't This isn't even the original source. A bunch of people have reposted this shit. But yeah, this is probably like the best introductory 9/11 video.
I got it. I'm gonna check it out and I'm gonna get back with y'all.
Yeah, no, you don't even need to check it out now, but just on your own. It's only 5 minutes, bro. It's like the easiest. Like, I know you spent more than 5 minutes scrolling on Reels or some shit in the past couple of days when you could just watch this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But anyway, let me bounce. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. But I'm gonna check it out. No, I'm gonna let you know when I get back.
It's only 5 minutes, bro.
I bet.
Damn, no way. Where'd he go? Alrighty, so you're up to tell us how some evil shit is awesome.
What's up, brother? That's hilarious. Oh, it's House of Evil shit is awesome.
Everything with you is a reframe to
Ah,
why it's awesome, no matter what
it's
it
so
is.
awesome, dude. I love you for that.
That's how you can tell that I'm listening, bro. That's all my shit is
Yeah,
specific.
right. Yo, brother, I love you. Dude, fucking love you. Fucking right. You're not wrong.
Are you like Canadian Scottish or something? Or
No.
where's that
Oh, yeah.
accent from?
That an insult?
No, I mean
No.
I wasn't trying to. I mean, I know a Canadian who's a
Oh, no,
Scotsman,
I
and he
know.
sounds kind of
I'm
like
just,
you. You know what I mean? So, nah, it wasn't an
no, yeah.
insult.
Well,
You
being
can take it
Canadian,
as an insult. I mean, it's the first
you're not
time
Canadian. You're not Canadian, are you?
I'm a dual citizen, so
Oh, no
technically,
shit. Okay, okay,
I'm
okay.
part. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
but you're from the East Coast, then, right? Am
Yeah.
I right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I always,
You sure
you know,
you don't some sort of Scottish uncle or something? You picked
no,
that up from?
no. I lived in England for a little bit, when I was a kid, but that's about it, brother.
I think it still comes through your accent a little bit.
Yeah. Played soccer one time in Scotland, and it's fucking just been there since.
That explains it.
Fucking right. Yeah.
No, shout out Wesley G in the house, big time Glober troll, coming coming at Witsit the other night. I seen that.
Yeah, I'm kind of blown away with my question. I think it's a great litmus test. Like, if someone thinks that like it was more impossible to fake the moon landing than it was to go there, like that's just so absurd to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Like the
yeah.
idea that
That is absurd.
going to the moon is less absurd than being able to fake it. That's just crazy to me.
Yo, Wesley, why you bullying Witsit? You think you're justified in that? You think that was a good thing? I'm not gonna be a
Now you're being
hypocrite.
a funny mute. Now
Wait,
you're
wait, wait,
funny
wait.
muting me.
Let me just make this last statement. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I did chuckle a couple of times, but
Yeah.
like that was kind of like not like are you proud of yourself for that?
No, at the beginning I was, and then toward the end, yeah, it got out of control. I would regret some of the things that I said, but the guy that you're defending now is the guy that wrote to QOP and pumped up QOP's name on his YouTube channel so he could get his DMs with his ex. And you're not going to say anything about that? Okay, that's fine. That's all I have to say.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. Like, what do you mean? What am I supposed to say about that?
That
What do you think I should say about that?
Witsit shouted out QOP's webpage for all of his followers. So in order that he could get DMs, private DMs of his ex, of his ex.
You
You don't have a
understand?
problem. You don't have a problem with that.
A problem with that?
Yeah. Do you? Why is that a hard question? Do you have a problem with that?
Um, Actually, I think it's isn't it your fault that you stepped in between a man and his
It's we
wife? And
again. It's weird that you can't
it's like
answer that question.
five
That's
guys stepped
weird.
in.
Listen. Listen to Noah run.
That is the answer. So he chose to host it out of his kind of malice and vengeance, basically. But you guys have no like dog in the fight. You guys are just a bunch of jackals that like go after people. Like it was a real showing of your character. I am McCoon's.
Oh my
I
gosh,
am
the
McCoon's daddy.
hypocrisy right
Yeah,
there. It is
I've
so good.
confronted. No,
It's
not really.
delicious.
Now
Dude,
you're just
Noah,
lying.
you couldn't have set that up
Now you're
so
lying.
better for me.
Now you're lying. Now you're just lying and funny muting. So I've confronted McGoon on 3 different occasions, and he has been
And I
thoroughly
confronted
wrong.
Winston. I confronted Winston.
He has
Thank
been
you.
thoroughly wrong, and
Yep.
he refuses to admit when he's wrong because McGoon is actually a
Yep.
fool. So
Winston too.
I've become his daddy. As far as you guys didn't confront if he
What,
was
we
wrong or
didn't?
right about you guys
Oh,
didn't
really?
know. No, you
Oh.
didn't. No.
Well, then you missed that
That
part.
was not
That's okay.
you
I'm
guys
used to you. Yeah.
confronting any of his specific points. That was literally
Yep.
just you guys interrupting him and playing on his emotions.
Yep. Okay. I know you see it that
Like
way. I'm
I
perfectly
don't
fine
even
with that.
like him. I don't even like him, but what you guys did is like is frowned upon. Like you're like even QOP is a more righteous man than you. Just think about
Okay.
that. QOP is a more righteous man than you and the other McGoon crew.
Okay, Magoon's daddy. That whatever you say, buddy.
Yeah, you and that crew, like even QOP now outranks you guys when it comes to morality and like the way you move with courtesy and all that. Even he outstrips you guys because he sat back and you guys acted like a bunch of ravenous wolves and jackals.
Nah, QOP's in the same boat, bro.
You celebrated and mocked another man's tragedy and laughed about it.
Not true. And now people, I mean, it does kind of suck. Like, it was like, all right, which it was going to go just see the observation, like uh, just to say, okay, is this claim true? Is this phenomenon true or not true? And now people don't know. So now, I mean, because they doubt him, and that's okay. Now you just need to wait a little bit longer and get somebody else to do it. Because if you want to make a map or a model or something like that, you want to work that. If that's something that happens in reality, you want to work that into your map or model. If you're not sure that it happens right now, then I don't know. You got to do what you got to do to just to verify that it happens. That's
It's kind
it.
of hard to convince somebody's mind when they have already made up their mind.
No, I mean if you see
There won't be any
it.
definitive proof that will be taken. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but if they
Yo, mic check, mic check.
yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, so we have a pervasive issue in the flat earth community, and it's a Witsit cult that even in the face of him lying and admitted that he lies, they will still go. Listen, I'm down for you to defend him. I was just trying to defend him earlier, but not online, dude. I'm not. That's when you progress from defending someone to being a cult member. Is when you defend their ill actions. You can defend
Noah,
him
can
as
I
a
ask you a
man or
question,
whatever,
Noah?
but you.
Noah, can I ask you a question? Why do you care what Witsit thinks?
I don't,
Like
but
I have nothing
there's
against
a
Witsit,
cult.
right? But I
He's in
don't
a
I
cult.
don't hold them higher or lower than anybody else's opinion. To me, Witsit is just another dude, right? Now
That's fine.
why do you guys care so much what Witsit thinks? I find
No,
that fascinating.
it's
He's
actually
in a
the
cult.
fact that
That's why. And
there's
he
a
wants a
cult.
bunch of people in the
It's
cult.
actually there's a cult of men. There's a cult of personality of followers of men who, whenever the truth is brought up when it comes to this individual, will literally muddy the waters and lie for him. That's why I'm concentrating on this right now. It's not for him and his sake. I was earlier trying to defend him against the Glober bullies that bullied him. But then came in the cult after I was doing a reasonable defense for the man. The cult members came in, and there it's just two extremes. There's one extreme that just wants to bully the man till he cries, and there's another extreme that if you question anything the guy says or does, they're just going to scream at the top of their lungs or slander and lie against you like cult members would. That's why it's such a problem. That's why this you can't get to the truth when you're your worldview is so muddied by this cult of personality, and you just believe whatever someone says just because they said it. And it was very easily demonstratable
Who's a
today.
Witsit cult member?
Elbow, Gatebreaker, I don't know,
Wow.
maybe some other people.
Wow.
Gatebreaker doesn't
That
even
is
align
just
with
crazy.
Witsit, and I don't know about Elbow. I don't really.
Bro,
can't
I
find it,
freaking
but
detest the damn fucking theory he has about damn fucking what's it called, that ether bullshit. What are you talking about?
That actually brings up my new
Dumbass
phrase I was
crappy
going to
shit.
coin was going to be that the truth is independent of what's it. That was going to be my new phrase.
It's amazing how freaking blinded freaking people be calling people just cultists because they disagree with something somebody else says. Stupid.
You guys were literally lying directly on stream 10 minutes ago
What did
for
I lie
him for
about?
no reason.
What did
I was
I
literally
lie
defending
about?
the guy, and then you, in a normal, rational way, and then you guys came in and started making up like ridiculous lies, like this guy's some sort of canonized
What
saint.
did I lie about?
You were just lying earlier. No one ever said that, and it was the whole conversation 5 minutes ago, like saying no one ever said
He said
things, whatever. Like you
he
must have some
didn't say,
sort of selective hearing or something.
no, he said
You just don't
that
hear what you want to hear.
no, he said it wasn't only about the smoking, the vaping, it was also about the
Yeah,
studio.
see, that's you.
About
Yeah, you are lying.
you're
Yeah,
not
you're lying right
listening. You're
now.
not listening. You're not
You're
paying
lying
attention.
about the lie
I'm
that
lying.
literally the
I'm
lie I'm
lying.
talking about right now. You're repeating.
Guys,
Wow.
you're getting back into it. Just saying, you're just touching on it a little bit. Now you're
I
getting
literally was calling
into it.
out this exact lie. He said, "Who's lying?" And then he starts to repeat the lie that I was
I
calling
didn't
out.
lie.
It's
I'm
crazy.
repeating what Gatebreaker said, moron.
Yeah, repeating the lie that I'm saying. Oh, you're not calling out any lie, and then you go on to repeat the lie that I was calling out. Like either you're something not connecting for you.
Maybe we should move on, guys. Like, there's millions of topics we can talk about, right?
Yeah, no,
There's
they already got
wars going
crushed.
on. There's moon landing stuff. Well, there's Artemis 2. There's
Go tell him to
wars
count some
happening.
beads.
Like,
Yeah, they already got crushed. They already got crushed in their cult of personality, their idolization of a man.
there's cars moving into
That's
trees.
the one that idolizes freaking statues. God dang.
You idolize a guy. You
And
idolize
pictures
literally a
of
guy on YouTube.
you literally
You
idolize a
idolize a
freaking
guy on
drawing of
YouTube,
a
bro.
heart, bro.
You idolize a guy on
You
YouTube.
literally idolize a drawing of a freaking heart.
You idolize a guy on YouTube.
Call it the sacred heart drawing.
It's not the draw. It's not the drawing that we
You
venerate.
idolize the shit out of it,
Dummy,
bro. You
low
idolize
IQ idiot.
beads counting.
You're just low IQ, bro. You don't understand the
Yeah,
nuance of the response.
sure.
I've already given you the response. It hasn't taken. Just like I've already showed you where you lied, and it hasn't taken.
I
You're
haven't
just
lied I
you're
haven't
just
lied a bit.
unreasonable.
I
You
haven't
can't
lied a
be
bit.
reached
You're the
by
only
reason,
one
sir.
are a lie.
The rebuttals have
It's
already been given to you. You could not
you
steel man
bundle
them. You could
people
not
into
steel man them
culty,
back.
and you don't even understand anybody here,
You
bro.
could
You're
not steel
freaking.
man. You could not steel man my rebuttals back for any of your arguments
You
because you
can
haven't
steal
listened to
my
any of
rebuttal.
them.
You
Because
can
you're
even
just a
steal my
cultist.
rebuttal.
You're just a cultist.
What's the one? Then steal
You're
mine.
just a guy in a
Steal
cult.
man what I said. Then
You're a guy in a
steal
cult.
man what I said.
You just idolized the picture of a heart. That's a fucking. First off, it's not even on topic, and second off, I already rebutted that.
You're talking
Like
about
3 weeks.
idolizing things,
I
and you
already
didn't even get on
rebutted
topic
that.
when you
I
just.
already rebutted that
Wow.
3 weeks ago, and you couldn't steel man the rebuttal to that because you're low intelligent.
You are talking about idolizing things and people.
Yeah,
and I'm
you
telling
are
you,
idolizing. You are
so
idolizing
you can't
Witsit.
even
Yeah,
track
you're in
the
his cult.
conversation.
You're a cult
You can't
member.
track the conversation.
You're
You
a
make
cult
up shit in
member.
your head. You're
a cult member that idolizes Witsit. Correct.
Yeah, see, there you go.
You're low
Lying?
IQ. You can't
Who's
determine the
lying
truth
now,
on your
bro?
own. You need to
Who's
look. You need to
lying
look
now?
to somebody
Who's
else.
lying now?
Okay,
You can't. You
how
can't.
many rounds of this are we gonna do, you guys? Like, just the constant insult and yelling, like, okay, you're a cultist, you're a cultist. Okay, like, I mean, are you cultist, Elbow? Like, my gosh, you guys, like, just can we
He can't.
get
He
to like
can't.
a point maybe instead of just like
Okay, here's
insulting
my honest point, dude. Elbow can't rationally
There
come
you
to the
go.
truth
Why are you talking
on
about me,
his
bro?
own.
Why are you talking
On
about
his
me?
own, he
Why
needs
are
to
you
look
talking
up to
about me,
another
bro?
guy. He needs to look up
Why
to
are you
another
talking
man
about
and
me?
idolize that
He's
other
asking
man.
you about something else, and you're
You need to
mentioning me.
idolize another
Why?
man because you don't have the mental faculties to come to the truth on your own.
So now, so I guess he gets to insult then, right? Should I let? So it's okay now. Okay, fine then.
That's
If
an
he can
honest
insult,
criticism.
yeah,
You're
honest
yelling on
criticism.
the top of
Yeah,
your
I
lungs because you
understand that you
idolize a
believe that
Okay.
movie.
you're smart. You're thinking you're
Oh, you
smart for
guys.
yourself, and you think
Smarter
that
than
you
you.
can do it.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
So, do we have a topic that, like, I know you guys are just, I don't know, you guys seem to be obsessed with Wits It Again on TFE. So, is there, like, a specific, like, topic we want to get on instead of just, like, slinging insults at each
Yeah,
other?
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Redford Barry. The Globers cannot steel man the globe. Right? They just cannot do it. Like it's obnoxious. Every time they say, these guys are heliocentrists, right? They think the mainstream model believes that the earth is moving around the sun and that the earth is rotating. These are very specific movements and very specific claims about movement that the heliocentric model, mainstream model has, whatever you want to call it. Now, these guys will sit here and back that up, but also in the next breath, and on the other hand, they'll say, "You never know what's moving. We can never know what's moving." So you can't say this thing's happening over here, and then say in the next breath you don't know what's happening. Like you definitely know what's happening if you think this is the thing.
They can't even steel man if gravity is a force or not. Most of them are agnostic on the subject. Others will bring nonsensical answers.
I'm just
I've
saying we went
confronted
ham
McToon
on the
about this.
We went
I
ham on the whole
confronted.
movement thing. We went ham on the whole movement thing last week, bro. I was just, pointing out that like all of last week is an example about how they're just not steel manning the globe model, the heliocentric model, the mainstream model, whatever the model's called. Like every time they say we don't know what's moving, all reference frames are valid. They're just throwing away the globe model.
They don't
They're
even have a
just
working.
they're
They don't
straw
even have
manning
a
their own shit.
working model, bro. It's like you're giving them that, like giving that away, right? They do not have a working model in the sense of a model.
Yeah, but when they say model, SD, they mean map. They think they're saying model, but they mean a map.
Yeah, all they think about is the sun going around. That to them is their model. But really, in the sense of a model, they don't have a working model. They have a ball of gas in a vacuum. It's unevenly heated in the center. They can't recreate it. So, what kind of model is this? It's not even a model, really.
It's still better than anything Flat Earth offers, though, right?
Wrong.
You
Wrong.
haven't seen
Well, tell me what
reality.
Flat Earth offers in terms of a map, for instance.
Well, the Globers are being contradictory. That's the thing. Like they have this contradictory thing where you can never know what's moving, but they know what's moving. Like if we don't have a thing, at least we don't have a contradictory thing. That doesn't make any sense.
No, we have reality, right? We know how water flows. We know what up and down means, right? We know how gas in a vacuum works. We know how heating works. We know we have physics on our side, right? They have a fantasy pseudo model.
Yeah, but where's your
Physics is
map?
on
That's
our
the
side,
thing.
Andy.
They want the accurate map of apparent positions, GPs, elevation angles to stars, corresponding to a map.
Yeah, basically they have ideas. That's it. Physics is literally on the side of us. Now, I don't want to use the term flat earther, but use whatever other term you want, the category you want to put me in, right? Reality, whatever you want to call it.
Why would a local map or a world map of the surface of where we live have to match the angles taking the lights in the sky?
Exactly.
What was the question?
Why would
Last
our
part.
maps have to match the angles taking the lights in the sky with different positions on that map?
Oh, because that is the map. That's how the map is
No,
made.
no, that's their map. That's the way they did it. But my question is to navigate. Like I leave where I'm at right now. I'm on a piece of water. I get on the land and get in a truck and drive down the road to the next state. Why do I need angles to lights in the sky to prove that the map that I use is correct?
Because you need something. You need an external reference, like so that you're at one point, right? And then when you
right?
move, you're at a new point. So you need something external to reference that corresponds universally over distance, and that would for them is the stars. And I mean, what do you have?
I have the reference point of my beginning point, the distance traveled, and the route that I took.
Yeah, what is that? Like what? Like at any point, like
On a map.
that doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it does. Of course, it
Like
does.
where you are, like wherever you are where you are. But that's always going to be like relative, like like relativity. It's going to be you are where you are in reference to something else.
I'm not talking about any scientific term. I'm talking about point A. When I leave this point and travel a certain direction for a certain distance at a certain speed, I can map that out. That's
In
what,
reference, yeah.
in
You're
reference
gonna
to
need
my starting point, and then you can reference that to everybody else's starting point, and then you can put structures at certain fixed points that never move, and you can reference everybody's movement based on that map.
Yeah, you could. And I was
That's
saying
what
this
we
to
do.
somebody yesterday. Like you could use like trigonometry, but you'd have to get like the heights of buildings and so on and so forth, and you could just map that way, like rise over run. But they use the stars.
Well, if you want elevation, you could do that, but you don't have to have elevation to do it to make a map.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. If you just
Ooh.
do on a planar coordinate system, but then you still need the reference points and then the triangles.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of reference points in most places. There's buildings that don't move. Well, I say they're not moving. Globers are confused on that point too. And as far as a model is concerned, if I hand you a ball of clay, unformed, right, in a box, just comes in a square box, some lights, a heat source, some pumps, water, sand, gravel, could you model the Earth better as a flat plane or as the globe presents it?
Um, well, in reality, it wouldn't be a ball. But when they say the model with what I they say model, I hear map. They think it's model, but they really just want map. And
Well, that's
when
not
they
my
say map,
question. Rephrase my question. If I give you two sets of these ingredients, which one could you model better, the globe Earth or the plane Earth?
yeah, the planar Earth, yeah, it's
There you
like
go.
clay, water, yeah.
Yep. Make water flow. You can take the heat source and heat up where the heat source goes over would be hotter than where it's not over. You can move it in and out. The lights in the sky you could model. Yeah, I agree. Who has a model? A better working model that can be replicated easily. A child could take some clay and model out their local area where they're at, like 100 square yards or whatever, pretty easily.
Yeah, you can fucking do it. Yeah, you can 3D model shit. So or clay, like getting hardened to fucking thing. It's like you can create architecture and crap. It's
Oh, boy,
like
your mic's still rough, man.
you can do clay and architecture and say, oh, you can say, oh, 2 square, 3 squared, diamond, what the hell ever. You can model, you can architect a house in clay. Clay is very good. So, yeah.
Actually, it would match pretty perfectly, especially in my area, because we dig down and we get clay. We have river silt on top, topsoil on top, river silt below it. If you're near a river or a basin, and then clay underneath. Yep, I can model it pretty accurately in my area with clay. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. So, who? Yeah. So, here, wrap it up. So, like, do you use like clay to like for your for the construction a little bit? So I'm a little like good in engineering, like a little bit like yeah.
Some people do. They model out cars. They
Yeah,
model out
yes,
bridges, things like
yes,
that, buildings that they're forming out of clay and making an exact replica actually to scale a lot of times. Airplanes, test them in wind tunnels and all that. It's to build a model. You can do it of Earth, airplanes, boats, cars, people, houses. Amazing, right? Model.
Isn't a model supposed to be a recreation of an actual thing?
Yep.
So where is this actual thing of this globe, this solar system? Where is it at?
I've heard Stellarium yesterday when we were asked to give a model. They were asked to give a model. They said Stellarium and two or three other computer programs that map the sky. They didn't say anything about the Earth. And actual, all these GPs and positions on the Earth is not the surface of Earth, it's above the surface. A perfect sphere around the surface of Earth.
Yeah, it's a perfect sphere around Earth. Yeah, it says it's like you're drilling oil. You're drilling oil like the BP oil. It's like, oh, it has an earthquake. You can't do that. The Earth is like has a crust, has the oil that and just drain out. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but they're not modeling that when they give you the stellarium, all that. They're modeling
Yeah,
a center point of a non-existent Earth. It's just a point, and then there's no actual surface, right?
I don't know. I sent that guy to the hot mic room 3 times already, and he just keeps hot micing. So I don't know. Plus, I don't understand anything he's saying. I don't know if you guys can. It seemed like you could because you were responding to it, but I don't know.
He seems a little intoxicated, but I'm used to that around here. Y'all don't drug test, so here we are. Listen to Professor Phil almost fall out of his chair all day yesterday, telling how dumb we are, and lie about how many satellites he's launched successfully. Because a couple of years back, I was sitting on my front porch on the swing talking to him. He told me he launched upwards of 1,000 satellites without fail, and yesterday he said 100. That's a liar in my book.
Oh, bro, I found the clip of him saying that something to the effect of like water vapor being a gas is the silliest thing he's ever heard or something. And also, he actually brought some satellites being deployed while in space back when we were on Brandon's, and they actually like fell into the clouds, like the satellites. They just like dropped right down into the clouds. It was crazy. That was supposed to be his proof of satellites.
I remember that we were on that for weeks and weeks, making
Yeah.
making fun.
Yeah, gas, petrol out of vapor. I was sitting in the helm of my boat in Grand Isle talking to Sean Hawkins about that. You remember that, Essie?
Oh yeah.
Dude's nuts, man. But they have to say some of the silliest things, and maybe it's just semantics, right? They're getting caught up in, but they project onto us that we're arguing semantics when we can just bring up the quote, just like yesterday. Taylor was in here battling them, and she would ask for something she could read, like cite the papers that you're getting your information from. They would never cite it. And then when she said something, she just cited the paper, right? Here's where I'm getting my information. And then they went to, that's all y'all do is want to cite things. Like it's a mentality, right? It's a mental way of projection and just trying to be professional debaters instead of finding the truth.
Well, it's a lack of critical thinking because they've been, I don't know, psyched out to believe in a certain thing, a certain way of thinking, and certain people have the truth. But even that is perplexing because even when I show them that these same people that they believe in, a lot of them have changed their mind, right? Dark matter, dark energy, string theory, like I name names, cell skin, and they still won't believe it. They're still locked into that idea that they have of this cosmology. It's like I don't know, man. Like even when you show them the people that they believe in, right? In the previous theory, which we won't even call it a theory, but for the sake of argument, even if you show them those same people now don't believe this, they're still believing in it. It's remarkable. Like the Big Bang, for example, you know, gravity, right? I mean, I could go on and on, like, and I can show examples. It's been defeated by 5 sigma, right? And they'll just go past it. Oh, but he believes in Mon now. So what? So what he believes in now? The guy that you believe in, that one of them that came up with this theory now doesn't believe it anymore, but you're still clinging to it. I mean, I don't know what to say, man.
Well, now they're admitting that LIGO is the most horizontal thing above water, right? And the water is 3.5 feet lower on one end. If you start on one end and take the water level and go to the other end, it's 3.5 feet lower with no water flow. But if you start at the other end, it's 3.5 feet lower, and then you go to the end that was not 3.5. Would it be lower than 3.5 or higher than 3.5? Like, they got a problem there, a conundrum.
Yeah, I was talking just the other day. I was talking with Zanuck and this other feller for like an hour, and it just the message just does not go through. They think you can have a tube or a canal that's lifted 3.5 feet on one side higher than the other without having water flow. Like, how can you talk to somebody like that? It's
Well,
impossible.
they either have to admit that their horizontal is an upward arc, or water doesn't flow when sloping, because
Yeah.
something's not right with that scenario. Even at LIGO, where they say it was following the curvature of Earth. I mean, you can't have a horizontal above water with the water not being parallel to the horizontal line, the arm of LIGO, and it not flowing. That's just not how hydrostatics work.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like I went through with them, right? They they admitted that LIGO, and they brought it up first of all. So they admitted that the LIGO arm is perfectly straight, and then there's a canal next to them. You brought up that it's been filled, but I even gave them, okay, let's say it wasn't filled, right? And I asked them, what's the difference between the LIGO arm and the water canal? And he said, well, the LIGO arm is perfectly straight and the canal is 3 feet lower at the other end. And without realizing the implication of that. Like that, to me, that's amazing. Like, how could you think there could be a 3 foot slope in a canal without it flowing?
That's
Well,
another
and then
phrase.
Lord said, go down to where at the end of the canal that you say is 3.5 feet lower than the arm, and then measure it back the other way. Is it 3.5 feet higher on the other end? I suppose thought it was supposed to be going down again.
Right.
The mantra is that water at rest flows uphill on a globe. That's my phrase, and it's true.
Yeah, that's another one of their nonsense. And then Zanuck comes in and corrects the horizontality of the other guy. And then he says, well, no. The water on a horizontal arm of LIGO, perfectly straight, would flow to the center. These are the things they say, man. Like, I don't get it.
The center's arbitrary. Like I said, like if it was going to flow to the center, and then imagine I just put like a vertical block, like I blocked it off. There becomes a new center where the water now sits and flows to. It's ridiculous. It's an arbitrary center.
Yeah, it's totally not logical, but for them somehow they figure gravity pulls to the center, and if they have a beam on top of their ball, somehow the water will pool in the center. It's amazing. Like it's
Yeah, but if I built a wall there, like right where the water was flowing to the center, there would they would imagine that it would somehow have a mind, know its new center, and then flow between the wall and the other end. Then that would be the new center, just by me putting a vertical wall there. It's nonsense. How do you talk to them?
I don't know, bro. You'd have to ask them. Yeah, who knows what they would think. But it's just the mindset to take them down that path and to see how they think, right? It's model affliction. It's they have to say these crazy things because they think they're on a ball and it works a certain way. It's like, I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know about y'all. I wouldn't want to speak for y'all, but I'm to the point where I don't really care what they think. Right? To say that I can't change my mind or I'm stuck in a cult or whatever, I have changed my mind. I've looked at the evidence that was never taught to me. I've looked at both sides and decided, and out of discernment and testing and observations, that It doesn't make sense that we're on a sphere as told. Now, until the time changes for me that I can measure water curving, I'm done with what they think. I could care less what the stars in the sky do or whatever. As long as the water isn't curving, I don't live on a sphere.
Oh yeah, like I've gone way beyond the point of trying to convince them of anything, right? It's at this point it's just a conversation for anybody else listening. There's no way you can change like a Xanix's mind or, a NASA's mind, or there's just no way they're gonna see Xanax thinks water flows uphill, so I mean you can't talk to a person like that.
Well, they tell me over and over again for years that I can't make a horizontal line um, accurate enough to measure water curving, and yet Point to LIGO is accurate enough to show a 3.5 foot drop in 4 miles.
Yep. It's definitely a complete waste of time talking to somebody like that, right? But I mean, maybe in the hopes of somebody listening, that's the only thing out of that.
Did you hear the contradiction I pointed out yesterday? So the Glovers, on one hand, will say there's no such thing. You can't create a straight line in reality. And then they'll point to the Foucault pendulum, which I know you love, as a perfectly straight line, showing the deviation of Earth underneath of the pendulum.
Well, yeah, they're so into this dogma that they'll argue about a tree and a car. I mean, that alone, you know, that alone should tell you that, yeah, there's just no hope of critical thinking.
Would you be surprised when I researched pendulum yesterday when y'all were talking about it, or the day before, that it brought up sorcery?
I'm not surprised at all. What do they do to hypnotize? Don't they have a clock
Yeah.
swinging back and forth? Yeah.
This was more talking about when people do a pendulum over a pregnant woman's belly and try and determine the sex. It's based on sorcery, so would a pendulum swinging back and forth
Also
any
used for
other.
it's also used for what is it? Water dowsing. What is it called? To look for water underneath the earth.
A pendulum is used for that? Yeah, first time I
Yep.
hear that.
No,
Okay.
look it up. Look it up. Dowsing is used for dowsing.
I think it's based on frequency, like, energy. And they also mention that, but that's what I've always thought. Whatever energy we have running through our bodies and through the room that we're in and in the atmosphere, I think that's what affects something that would swing back and forth in there. And the energy level determines on which direction and the rate that it would process. And that's why you get different procession rates at different positions. And then also when you have different energy levels inside of a woman's belly or something like that, or water underneath, or whatever, the energy level would be different, so the precession rate would be different, or the frequency would be different.
Yeah, well, like what I say with the pendulum, right? I don't even believe that it processes the way they say they do at every latitude, because they've never really showed that to me. But what I say is that the two pendulums side by side, right? That should settle it once and for all. But I've asked many times what length and what this and what that, and we always get into an argument. We never come up with, and think about it, 400 years, right? They have a chaotic pendulum. They thought to stick a pendulum onto another pendulum, right, and swing it around. But nobody has thought, or maybe they have, and they know that what's going to happen. And nobody in 400 years has put one pendulum side by side with the other one to see if they do the same thing every time. Like, I find that truly fascinating.
How retarded is it to think? Actually, that makes me think of something, right? Like you said, well, maybe they don't know, or maybe they do know, right? Like, how retarded is it for somebody to think, right? Like, because they're gonna, if they do this, like some kind of reveal, they being like, like Nat Geo or PBS or something like that, they're not. They pretend like they're doing it for the first time. How naive do you have to be to think that they're going to go out and test reality for the first time with a broadcasting crew? They already know what's going to happen. They're just going to go out there and try to repeat what they've already shown. And for somebody to believe it, how naive do you have to be?
Right, and even the one they show that the guy in the stairwell, Geo posts it a lot of times. Even that one, they don't show uh, the string, they don't show the mechanism on top. They don't show how many times the guy done it, right? And they never talk about, well, they have to do it multiple times before they get the desired result, right? So
Yeah,
this
and it
thing
comes.
is up in the air for me. Yeah.
Oh, it comes down to like even like the Antarctica. You have to go and do it for yourself because, yeah, they're not going to show you. All right, take 150. All right, now we got the desired thing to put onto the TV to show all the viewers on Netflix. I mean, you have to be naive to think they're going to actually show you the unfiltered, undoctored truth. You have to be naive to imagine that. Well, it would just be bad on every level. What kind of, I mean, what kind of company or establishment would go out there and pretend to be testing something for the very first time and look like a fool in front of the whole world? Obviously do it over and over and over. So even if they showed us something, let's say they showed us this equator pendulum or pendulums set up side by side, people would watch it and they would imagine that they didn't already know what was going to happen. They're going to watch it and be like, wow, we're discovering this together for the first time, like children watching Sesame Street.
Yeah, it's basically a set of ideas that they have in their head, and like I said, it's the lack of critical thinking that surprises me. Like if you're gonna think a ball on a string proves the Earth is rotating, I mean, okay, good on you. No, and then they show the ones in the museums, and you tell them, look, these are like precision timepieces. Really, you can adjust this, you can adjust that, and there's even instructions if this goes wrong, do this, and goes in one ear, out the other. Yeah, but there's universities that have done it. Have you seen it? Have you seen it yourself? Of course not. You're just believing in this thing, this parlor trick that has convinced you that the Earth is rotating. I mean, okay, fine.
That's his new home. All right, got it. That's his new home. That's his new home. All right, got it.
It's the tree of life, brother. The tree of life.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I think I don't know, maybe.
All right. Wow. Rest in peace to the dodo.
What did you say, Gatebreaker? What did you say? You heard that he passed away or something?
Yeah, I think I heard his mom reported it or something, but I would double check just to be sure.
Yeah, it's the first time I heard that.
We talking about Piche?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering what's been going on with him since I haven't heard of him for a while, and he hasn't done a live stream in a long time. So I was asking Montreal if he knows anything about him, and he says that he hangs out at gyms, and then somebody else said he might be dead.
Well, I heard some bad news about Professor Phil the other day. But maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't be doing the rumor thing. So forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, same here.
I can hear his voice in my head right now, crystal
Yeah,
clear.
I remember the stream where he first came onto Discord, and I warned him. I says, Professor, I don't know if you know what you're getting yourself into, but your life is about to change right now. So I would think twice about getting into this. And yeah.
I think my favorite Pete catchphrase is "Now hold on." You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Pete is definitely a character. Aristarchus, and all that. Dodo.
Yeah, I've had some crazy conversations with him. He's a little out there, but he's got a wonderful mind for like looking at symbolism. He once told me this. I'll never forget this. He was like, okay, you know the Twin Towers, right? He's like, did you know that they used to be called the tuning fork of the world? And he goes, so they took the towers down and they turned the tuning fork upside down, which is why there's now you only see the bottom of the tuning fork, which is like the One World Tower. I'd never heard that before. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever heard from him.
Yeah, he also used to say that everyone was an actor. You guys are all actors.
No, he knew I wasn't an actor. Pete would come on right now and be like, platypus stand up guy for sure. We got in trouble together. We both got banned from I think Gems together, but they let him back, but not me.
Wow, so he got banned from jams. I really
This was
want to
years
know.
ago.
Yeah, I really want to know if he's dead because if I were to guess, I would guess that too because, like I said, he was always around, and now he's been really quiet. I mean, this channel at least has been really like not even one live stream. So it's like I'm starting to think he might be dead. Which, if it's true, then we've lost a lot of people, like in the flat versus low Earth community. A lot of Glockhead and Flurfs have died in the past 5 years.
Yeah, that'll happen when you're a part of a community for so long. You start to, see people go. I hope he's all right. If we didn't know, or if we did know rather, whether or not he was alive or not, I would totally be doing my best Pete Shea impersonation. But out of respect, I'm going to hold off until we find out. It would only be out of love, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, Mark thinks he's passed away too. He says he's been missing for months. So I hope it's not true. But if it's true, rest in peace, brother.
Oh, absolutely. Rest in peace. That'll be the end of an era.
An optical illusion? Yeah, it doesn't actually set. It just appears to. Yeah, I agree.
No, incorrect.
Yeah,
Because we can put a
Refraction
solar
can change
filter.
the angle
We can
and
put a
the
solar filter. We can put
yeah,
a solar filter. We can put a solar
Wesley.
filter on it, and then you don't have that optical illusion anymore.
it won't set with a solar filter.
No, it
Really?
still will. That's the whole point.
Oh,
Wesley,
it
you
does
can have
set with a solar
refraction.
filter.
I'm sorry, Wesley, you can have refraction change the angle to a celestial object, and it won't change angular size. So what's the
Because
problem?
it's a point of light. I agree. But the sun, it
So
does
what is the
change.
point of light? So what?
It does change the size or the yeah, it does change the size of the sun. It gets smushed
What?
as the sun gets near the horizon. It gets smushed. How do you not know this?
Yeah, in some instances, yeah.
In most instances, it does.
Not every time.
Okay.
What, you see the sun gets smushed every time it sets? Hey, you don't.
With solar filters, you can measure it.
All right, so then no matter what, celestial objects are subject to refraction at that angle. So congratulations. That's
Yep,
a
completely agree. They're
supporting
always
flatter.
light is always subject to refraction in the Earth's atmosphere.
Thank you so much, Wesley. I knew you could do it.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. Where's Alec? What happened to your Alec account? Or is it still Alec? No.
Oh yeah, I got a new picture.
Hi, Jesse Clarence.
Hello. I'm surrounded by frogs. I heard that Alan has a new model. I actually want to take a look at it. If anybody can help me out.
Looks like a water fountain.
I got you, dude. You can do so much in it. I got
Hell
you.
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's fun. I was told today, yeah, Alan let me know that he's doing an event tomorrow and they're going to be going over it all and showing all the features and so on. But yeah, go ahead, Beast.
It looks exactly like Wake Souls from 6 years ago.
Would you say Awake Souls is joining them?
Awake Souls did this single, can't remember what they call it, but the single point where it only works for where you're standing. You can't compare two different. You can't measure two different points or two different positions.
Is that different than the conceptual model, or is that the same thing?
I think their model only works from one observer for one observer.
Oh wow.
Have you seen the model that they're talking about?
Yep.
Have you looked at it?
Yep.
Okay, you're aware it has globe FE8 like an AE type map. It has dual pole. It has all kinds of different map projections.
Yeah, but they're the flat Earth. Well, sorry, I was assuming. So, are you saying they're claiming different models?
I don't know. I'm not saying anything that they're
bro.
claiming. I'm saying that this program, this website program that was made, has many different features. But go ahead.
I think it's really cool. It's very cool. It's got a lot of features.
You
But
do know the point of
I
it, though,
assumed
Wesley,
that
right?
I thought they were doing. They claimed either the flat or the dual pole. They haven't decided yet. But that's what Wake Souls had done.
It has all three interpretations.
I know it does. Which one is most
okay?
accurate?
Whoa!
Which
Relax.
one's most accurate?
Well, dude, relax, bro. Just try to state that it's equivalent, all three of them, in terms of mapping the star field. And guess what? It uses unitless distances. So, chew on that one. Anyway, I'm gonna share it right now with you.
What's the point? What's the point of unitless distances?
Oh, it's to show that your distances don't mean shit.
What is a unitless distance?
It means that you could change the angle to it based on ratios. Like it doesn't matter.
Okay, so how far is 2?
Exactly what you just said.
Beast, how far is 2?
Oh, Wesley, why don't you just understand what was just said to you instead? Why don't you do that?
No, I do. I understand you can transform it. I agree.
Oh, he
I
definitely understands.
I
He's
agree. I
freaking
agree
out.
100%. I agree 100% with that. Now tell me, can you tell me what is 2 equivalent to?
Hey, shout out to Alan, man. Like, I already know what he did. He broke it down with the graticule stuff. He did a presentation about graticules. And I was like, that does make sense. You can create an algorithm where you have like 4 layers. And depending on your angle and the observer position, like, you're going to be looking through either 1 to 4 layers. And that's going to create the algorithm for the angles to start. It makes perfect sense. Walter Bislin already did it. It's just the way that it looks. He doesn't have a real, layer in the change of medium to reflect the change of the angle. It's just like, this is what's happening on A.E. Gleason's, but we don't know if that's really it. So, but yeah, I like this. I like what I'm looking at.
Dude, check it out. You could save it as a phone app. If you have an iPhone, you can put ads as bookmark, and then it loads it as a web app. So then that way it's like permanently loaded. So it's like it'll stay on whatever you were trying to observe. There's so much to it, dude. There's so many features. Have fun.
I will. Thank you. Shout out to Alan. That's good stuff. I wonder when I'm going to shout out Wesley. When are you going to bring me some good stuff?
One thing a Glober can do is play the game. If you had to choose a flat Earth model, which one would you choose? Because now there's multiple versions of them, and maybe you can get in debates defending that one over the other while still understanding that it's a globe in your view.
Yeah, the A.E. Gleason's is a globe. The globe is an A.E. Gleason's. I don't know.
I know it's so crazy. It's like, yeah, you've been in this conversation for this long. You guys still don't understand that the AE projection is just a spherical coordinate transform. Like it's just a projection of the same thing.
What do you mean?
How
By
loudly
it's
could you
just a
say it?
projection. What is that? What does that entail? Because what does that mean? It's just a projection.
Same. Both work.
It's just okay. So you have one ultimate spherical coordinate system using latitude and longitude, right? That's represented as a perfect idealized sphere. Okay, celestial sphere, the spherical coordinate system. You can transpose whatever's in the celestial sphere to any projection, meaning map projection, whether it be an azimuthal equidistant, a hammer transverse equilateral, whatever. There's hundreds of projections you can choose. They are all equivalent because latitude and longitude is what keeps them all in line with each other, basically. It's how you're able to go from one to another, depending on your usage. So the practicality of a projection depends on what you're trying to do. For example, the AE map was supposed to track where the sun is at a certain time. That's the point of the map.
So, like, when you say that they're equivalent, would you say that the dual pole stars are equivalent to the Gleason map stars? Or what is equivalent? Because there's obviously multiple.
Latitude and longitude in terms of points on the celestial sphere. That's it's all equivalent.
Okay, so
now I'll show you. Let me show you this gatebreaker. I'm going to show you a little chart, and it's not like everything, but it'll have most of. It'll probably answer most of the questions that you have, like what's equivalent, because sometimes it's the area that's different, or the distances are different, or distorted, etc.
well, I'm
Depends on
asking
what
these
the map is preserving.
Thank you. When you post it, I'll take a look at it. I'm asking these questions really just for clarification and to be on even ground.
No, I got you. It's a good question. Different maps preserve different features or different variables. I'll show you.
Does the flat or the dual does it work for multiple observers or only one?
Wesley, every flat map works because that's what every single map is.
I'll ask again. Does this model from Alan, does it work for 2 observers or multiple observers or only 1?
The model has a feature that you could hit a drop down and you have a slider where you could choose the position of the observer, longitude and latitude. So at any one point it's 1, but you could go anywhere on the map.
No,
And see.
no, again,
Okay.
I agree. I understand that. I'm asking, does it work for 2 observers at the same time?
I didn't see that feature, but I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to implement.
Well,
I don't even know what you're asking. What are you asking? Sorry, I was looking for the chart for
Yeah,
Gatebreaker.
no worries. So, like, when you for one observer, it's easy, right? For 2 observers, are they looking at the same point when they see the same star?
Thank you, Professor Dave.
No, that's a good point. They'll find value in implementing that if they haven't yet. So that's good. We could that's a suggestion, honestly.
Yeah, depending on where you are on the Earth, the observer's position is going to affect how the light is being refracted from celestial objects. If you can't picture that, I'm sorry. It's very easy to picture for me.
No, I completely agree. That's why we should do it like at a angle 45 degrees from 2 different observers. Will it point to the same position?
The only place where that really becomes a conflict is like the edges of the AE map, where South America and South Africa are complete opposite directions, but they're apparently both looking at the Southern Cross. So you would have to say that light is bending. It's easy.
I mean, Wesley, if you're trying to find holes in the dual pole, I can show you, but this really isn't about just trying to dismiss it and eliminate it. They're
I'm not
trying to model it.
Sorry. If I understand a lot of the time I'm doing that, but I'm curious if it works for two observers, because that was the problem with Awake Souls, where it only worked for one observer. It was observer centric and only one.
So if that were to be implemented, I bet you the results would be, as far as just Gleason versus dual pole, each model will have different strengths at different parts of the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
So I think for like 2 observers on the dual pole, as far as near the poles, near the equator, somewhere in the midpoint, it would be better off than at the edges. And same thing for the Gleason. It's the edges. It's the manner in which the sphere is being flattened out.
Yeah.
And that point is being separated and put. Yeah. But we'll see. We don't want to spoil it.
No. I agree.
Yeah, but one of the factors that becomes involved is so if the stars are actually in like a physical location that we could go and like validate, we could say, okay, it's in this coordinate, and we could physically go up there. Like if you had a light bulb in a ceiling, you could go up and be like, all right, this light bulb is right there. It's X amount of distance from the other light bulbs or from the ground. The thing with the stars, though, unless somebody thinks they can go touch the stars, I mean, even I guess NASA is going to claim they're probing planets or whatever, but I mean, they don't even claim they're getting the stars or whatever. But certainly for anyone in here, like we can't, and really NASA can't either, but actually go like validate where the stars are. So without that, if I were to use the word like apparition, like the stars are almost more like an apparition, like they just appear, like they're just there. We can't really check them. We can zoom into them. You can take spectroscopy, but you can't truly verify where it is. Therefore, you can only verify like angles and observational points. So if you're in one position, you can say, okay, that angle's there, that angle's there. You can move to another position and say that angle's there, that angle's there. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the GPs. The GPs do seem consistent. But I'm just saying, like, what you're asking to me kind of starts to get into the question of how to validate if you are pointing in the same position. Meaning, lastly, like if I'm in California and someone's in Florida and we both see a star and we're pointing to it, are we pointing to the same place? Well, I could say my angle is this, you could say your angle is that in Florida, but we can't actually go to that point up in the sky to actually confirm where it is spatially. Therefore, all we have is sort of like an apparition of light that we can see and we can take angles to it. But to confirm what you're saying is extremely difficult. And it is on the globe model too. You really can't confirm the light years away stars either.
Yeah, in that case, we could just use the moon.
What's that, Gio?
Well, I would say you can't do that either. I mean, I know Freemasons claim, like government agent Freemasons claim to have landed on the moon. If you want to take the leap to like believe them that they actually went 250,000 miles and landed on a rock, I suppose if you're going to take those beliefs, then I guess you could try to claim that you would have that position because you're claiming that like they tested it, that it was that distance. But that would involve belief and not something we can verify.
Are the women Freemasons?
My understanding is they have like a slightly different type of in their communities. Like, there's no like female Freemasons, but they have other types of. What are one of the names of them?
So when you claim that
Eastern Stars.
only Freemasons that work for the government, like that wouldn't be entirely accurate.
I was talking about the ones who landed on the moon.
Oh, but what about the ones that have ridden around it?
Yo, Wesley, could you stop saying what about it, and just acknowledge what someone fucking says to you at least once in your
No,
life?
I agree with him. I totally agree with Gio on the stars, but the moon is a different thing. That's much easier to that goes against the other complaints. If we can get some common ground on the moon, then great. If we can't, that's fine too. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, but why would we ever come to your side about the moon, dude? It's so fake.
That's fine. I agree. That's fine.
Apparently, women can be Freemasons. I thought for the most part they can't. I think there's a lot of areas where they're not. But I thought there was like a separate. There's like a women only. Oh yeah, the Order of the Women of Freemasons, the Honorable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons. I was just looking this up. There are women
I
only
had no
lodges.
clue. Thanks. I didn't know.
It's called
that.
Eastern Star or Western Star.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eastern Star. Yeah.
Eastern Star. Eastern Star.
I mean, I was just saying. I mean,
Something,
the astronauts, a lot of them are Freemasons, and there's Freemasonic symbols all within NASA, and so on. If I was just if you want, even if you don't want to debate whether they're Freemasons, they are government agents, that's for sure, and they claim to have gone and landed on a rock in the sky. So I'm just saying that's a leap of something that we can't confirm, because what I was saying before about not being able to confirm the actual physical coordinate in the sky still stands, other than if you believe these government agents that claim they went and landed on it.
there's something interesting about the stars. Um, on the globe model, they treat the radius of the celestial sphere. It's the same radius as the globe, 3,959 miles. And when you like triangulate and you, yeah, I wasn't done. What's up?
No, I'm just laughing in agreement. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, this is a weird point I'm trying to make. It's like where you see, because what Alan and Shane did throughout their celestial theodolite updates, they made a diagram where the position of the star was literally where the observer was seeing it. And it put this idea in my head like you could have the lights appear at that geographic position, and then as you approach it, it does whatever effect takes place. But it's like, they were treating the geometric position of the star as the geographical position where you're observing it from, or something like that. What I'm trying to get across, I haven't gotten across yet. But it's about like where the globe presumes the stars are and how it literally transforms in their model.
Hello, Jesse.
Yo, Bacon, you're talking smack about me?
No.
Yeah, don't you ever call me a glober again.
I didn't call you a glober.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't, did you?
Called you a Glober.
Wait, I'm gonna take a screenshot.
Yeah, no, I said last time we spoke, at least on these topics, you were a glober back then.
No, I was trying to get you to beat that sexton challenge. That was our last conversation.
Yeah,
you
well,
deserve that 10K, Bacon.
Yeah, let's see that. Oh, I think that I can't get the 10K anymore because Toon moved to a different challenge, so that challenge doesn't have the 10K anymore. And that was like 2 years ago, apparently. But anyway, yeah, let me challenge you on something you said. When you said they use the radius of the celestial sphere as the same as the globe, when you say they, you mean globers?
The celestial sphere has a radius of 3,959 miles. When you pretend that you're like taking angles to stars. So technically, it's like the geographical position where it appears overhead. It's like the celestial sphere is the same size as the globe. It's like this funny thing that happens where, you know, can you treat the geometric position of where you're seeing the star as the actual geographical position where you see it? It's like, I'm not getting this across well enough, but Alan did it in a diagram and it's just been lingering and I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, and then it's not.
Yeah, it's like the radius. Like if you were to
It's
make a
Alan.
radius, well, if you were to make, I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm just saying in general, they might be referring to the idea. If you took a radius from your body to the extent at which the stars appear, like even if we just call them apparitions for the moment, they appear, like that radius of that hemisphere can be interpreted as the 3959. Instead of the radius of a being on a ball, it's actually the radius of your vision.
Yes.
Well, that's. Oh, we don't do that. I don't do that. I don't know who does that. But if the celestial sphere had the same radius as the Earth, because the celestial sphere is Earth-centered, at least in celestial navigation it is, then the celestial sphere would be at the Earth's surface. So you can't have the same radius as the Earth. It's assumed to have like infinite radius because we don't do any parallax to the stars. So not 3959, infinite, or just big enough that there's no parallax. So I'm not sure where this idea of 3959 comes from for the celestial sphere. I don't see how that reflects on anything we do.
Because if I were to take an angle to Polaris and then polar circumnavigate, you know, to change the angle 90 degrees, I'm going to travel 3,959 miles. It's like literally the celestial sphere is giving you that radius. How would you say that it's not?
Oh,
like literally that's where it
giving
comes
Earth the radius, not the celestial sphere itself. The celestial sphere itself is assumed to like when we assume there is no parallax to the stars, we assume the stars are infinitely far away. So that's not.
So wait, it's not 1-to-1,
away.
Bacon? It's not 1-to-1 anymore? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What do you mean 1-to-1? 1-to-1 what?
The celestial to the terrestrial. You don't think it's 1-to-1?
Coordinate wise, sure. Doesn't mean they have the same radius. That's a different
So
thing.
it is 1-to-1. Okay.
Coordinate wise, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the radius. They
If
don't
it's
have the same radius.
1-to-1,
so we don't know
then
it?
you can treat it. Hold on, wait. If it's 1-to-1, that means you can treat it as if it was the height instead of it being the radius of a fictitious observer at the center
That's
of
not
a
what it
ball
means.
to the surface of the Earth.
That's not what it
It's
means.
just you can do this if it's 1-to-1, bro. Then yes, you can. You just reverse it.
Then we don't mean the same thing when we say it's 1-to-1. When I say it's 1-to-1, it means that every point in the sky is over a point on Earth. That's what I mean 1-to-1. If that's
And what's the height
you
of
mean
the star?
something else. Well, each star is at different height. We assume them to be infinitely far away because they don't have
Exactly.
visible parallax.
You assume it to be infinitely far away, right? Ergo, right? The height is unknown in your paradigm, right? So if you reversed it, what do you mean no? You're just gonna say no? Okay, why are you saying no?
Let me elaborate. Yeah, okay. In practical terms, let's say when you're doing celestial navigation, we are not accounting for any parallax, which means we are assuming they're infinitely far away. It doesn't mean the distance. Hang on. Which doesn't mean, therefore, that the distance is unknown. For example, we know the distance to the sun. We still treat it as infinitely far away because we don't do parallax correction for the sun. We do parallax correction for the moon because it's much closer, but we don't do it for the sun, so we are also assuming that it's infinitely far away. Doesn't mean it's unknown.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. The point is, if you're using a fictitious observer at the center of a ball to get the zenith, right? Like let's say a Polaris, right? If like Jesse was saying, if you were to circumnavigate from to 90 degrees, right? You would have to travel 3959 to go from the equator to the North Pole.
Okay, if I want to go to from the equator to the North Pole, I have to do what?
It'd be a 90-degree angle difference, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So then 90 times what? 60 nautical miles? Or
Yeah, what
69
about
nautical miles? Okay, so if you multiply that out, what does that add up to?
it's 6,000 something?
6,370 kilometers or something like that, right? Which is 39.59.
No, it's not 39.59.
I don't know why you're saying there isn't a presumed radius to the celestial sphere, man. It's always been 39.59.
I know, I don't get
But
it.
if that was the case, the celestial sphere would be at the Earth's surface.
Exactly,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what I'm trying to elucidate is this idea that the stars are being projected. Well, okay, now I'm going to take it a little too far, but I don't know what's causing it, but it could be like, that's just where they appear because of where you are on Earth.
There's nothing causing it, Jesse. That's just how they conceptualize it. They just he just doesn't. I don't know why he's saying it's 1-to-1, but then he's saying it's not 1-to-1.
I'm not saying it's not 1-to-1. I'm saying what I mean by 1-to-1, and I don't mean the same radius when I say it's 1-to-1. You're taking this 1-to-1 term and meaning two different things. One I agree with, the other I don't.
Listen, dude. If you have to go 3,959 miles from the center of the Earth to get to the surface of the Earth, right? That's your height. Now, if you just move that up to where instead of you being an observer at the center of the ball, now you're an observer at the surface. How high is the star field now? The maximum height.
What do you mean?
Okay, in our conception, the maximum altitude would be 6,310
Why?
in kilometers.
What do you mean maximum altitude? You're
Because
saying a
that's
star
how you
couldn't be that?
because that's how you preserve the 60 nautical miles per degree relationship with the
That's for the
15.04 degrees
surface.
per hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
for the
okay. Well,
surface.
where are you going to do celestial navigation, Bacon? What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, that's the distance over the surface. That's not distances on the celestial sphere. The celestial sphere only gives you angular distance.
You need the distance from the center of your sphere to be 39.59 to get all the 1 degree per 60 nautical miles. You need that.
Yes,
exactly, dude.
That 6 nautical miles is at Earth's surface. That doesn't have anything to do with the radius of the celestial sphere.
What are
the
you
stars
talking
are
about?
literally 39.59 miles from the center of Earth. That's literally what you have to say.
Yeah, that's the radius of Earth. I don't see how you guys are getting that. That should also be the radius of
So
the celestial
therefore,
sphere.
in a funny way, I'm sorry, but therefore, in a funny way, the geometric position of the stars are literally like the radius of the Earth. So it's like this
they're
thing you can
GPs.
pretend is going on. Well, I don't need to pretend. I think this is going on. But like based on the observer position, I'm sorry. I want this to make sense to Bacon. It's kind of hard to explain.
If by
I don't know,
celestial sphere,
he's a smart guy, dude. I don't get how he doesn't understand it.
Well,
if
you
by
can't
celestial
make
sphere,
sense of what doesn't make sense.
yeah, I'm trying to make sense. I really am trying
We're
to make
talking
sense.
about the geometric position that you see the star, and if it's dictated by whatever, I give up, dude.
Dude, we can go through it one step at a time. I mean, Bacon, do you want to try to steelman what's being said, and then if you can't, they can say it again, and then you can steelman it. We can just go through it. We can get to at least where there's a common understanding, because this is a complex topic, and some words might mean slightly different inflections to someone else or how they're interpreting it. So.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Oh, I can't steelman at the moment because I'm still clueless to the reasoning that they're trying to make.
The geographical position where you sorry.
I can try to steelman what I think would make sense. I'm not sure that's what you guys are saying, but if that was what you're saying, that could make sense. Is if you're thinking of the celestial sphere as the collections of GPs, then sure, that would be over Earth's surface. But celestial sphere that we're referring to would
but that's exactly what it is, though. That's the point.
Yeah, hang on. But when we are citing a star, we're not citing their GP, we're citing the star itself. When we refer to the celestial sphere, hang on. No, you're not pointing to the ground.
Yeah, all you're
I'll
really
tell you
ever doing
how you are.
It's kind of funny because all you're ever really doing with a star is actually just establishing its GP relationship to the ground.
Yes, but you're not
And it's
citing the
angle.
Exactly,
GP.
dude.
You're citing the star. Those are two
Okay,
different
all right.
things.
Bacon, walk here. I'll walk you through it real quick. All right, check it out. If you have a star's azimuth, right? You have its azimuth and you have its altitude above the
You
horizon.
mean zenith?
Okay?
Oh,
No.
I have its azimuth. Okay.
Yeah, you have its azimuth, okay? Let's say it's
Yeah,
20 degrees above the horizon. All right?
that's not an
Then
azimuth.
that means are you listening?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you said
If
the
it's
azimuth is
if you're
some degrees above the horizon.
okay,
So I don't,
can I
what do you
finish,
mean
dude?
then?
I'm trying to walk it. I'm trying to explain
But you
it,
already
dude. Shut
lost
up.
me.
But
You
do you
already
mean
lost me.
hold on? Do you mean declination angle or
Dude.
elevation angle?
Or
Please?
declination. Yes,
All right.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So if the star is 20 degrees and it's a declination, okay? That means 70 degrees, you add 70 degrees to it, then its GP would be literally like if you would have to move 70 like you would have to make it to where the star moves up angularly 70 degrees as you move towards it, right? Which would give you a distance, which is how you get the distance relationship between stars, essentially. So like
No,
instead of
between
just
GPs.
using mile, yeah, well that equates to an actual distance, right? If 60 nautical miles per degree holds true. So
Yeah,
if I were
on
to
the
move
surface.
70 degrees, yeah, on the surface, right? So if I were to move 70 degrees to where I would make that star that I'm looking at now appear to be overhead at my zenith, how far would I have traveled? You can actually make that relationship. And that holds true even if you don't see the star. Why? Because it's all interlocked with the 60 nautical miles per degree relationship and the 3959 radius.
You're doing
Yes.
Euclidean
Yeah,
simple triangulation on that, right?
that's why Earth has to have that radius.
Right. So if it's not curving like you say it is in your conception, then what you're doing is you're basically taking angles to stars at the surface of the Earth, and then you can assume to keep that relationship intact, right, over a planar Earth.
You can't.
Then you would just assume that the height of the star field is actually 3959. It's apparent height. That's
you
it.
can't
That's the point.
assume that relationship on the flat Earth.
Why not? It's equivalence.
No, it's not. I already proven that's the case like years ago.
How
I
is
can
it?
post that again.
How?
I'll
It's the
post the
same exact
derivation to
thing,
you.
dude.
No, it's definitely not the same thing. A sphere and a
Okay.
plane have different geometries. If it holds on one, it can't hold on the other one.
If you treat the stars as infinitely far away, right? If the celestial sphere has an infinite radius, isn't that flat?
No, it's a sphere. A sphere with infinite radius isn't flat. It's still a sphere.
A sphere with infinite radius is flat, dude.
I don't think you know what a sphere is then.
Bro, an
Dude,
infinite
you know how
radius.
Roohif talks about infinite refraction, which is essentially flat, or sorry, infinite radius, which is essentially flat. You disagree with that, or Bacon?
Yeah, that doesn't mean that there's infinite radius. That's the part we're just talking about. There, distance significant such that the light rays come in parallel. That's all that is.
Yeah, I'll
Here,
tell
I'll make it real simple.
I'll
make
what
it
Roohif's
very,
saying
very
with that.
simple.
And why it's not the same thing.
Parallel invokes the planar geometry, but go ahead, Beast.
It's so simple, you guys. I'm on the bus. I just want to finish my thought here, okay? It's either you have the sky curving and the ground flat, or you have the sky flat and the ground curving, okay? That's what makes it 1-to-1. That's what makes it equivalent. That's all we're doing.
That's not equivalent at all.
Okay. Whatever you say, man.
Yeah, but you know what's funny, Bacon, is Walter Bislin already showed that you can have this.
Exactly.
Well, on Walter Bisley model, there is no 6 nautical miles per degree.
Does it use latitude and longitude and have actual star positions?
It uses latitude and longitude, and yeah, it has the star's GPs.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So then all we need is the change in the medium to bend the light that much.
Okay, but
right?
that's still, it doesn't matter. The path
Yes,
of light, that
yes. He
doesn't
said
matter.
yes. Are you a flat earther now too, like Jake?
What? No, in Walter Beasley model, there is no 60 nautical miles per degree. If you get the observer, you put the observer some location right under a star, and then you move somewhere where the star is 45 degrees, and then you move where it's 30 degrees. That's not following 6 nautical miles per degree within that model.
Yeah, it does.
No, not in Walter Beasley.
Wait, are you saying just using lat long, or are you saying using the AE map thing?
Using the AE map thing. That's what Walter Beasley model.
Well, I kind of think of his as more just mapping stellarium in a little azimuthal hemisphere with a flat azimuthal foundation and a hemispherical dome, and just throwing that on like a pretty cheesy looking graphic of the AE map. Like that graphic is not even like it's like a cartoon version of the AE map. It's not even like detailed at all. So I don't even really think of that layer of it that he threw under there. I mean, I guess yeah, when you move it around, it does relate to north and south, latitude, longitude, but the longitudes in the south are all different on that as well, and that's not necessarily what stellarium represents. So it's just sort of arbitrary that he threw that grid on it. But I mean, it is a north-centered azimuthal grid as projected out, and then the south being a part of that expanding. So I guess in a way, but he's taking the stellarium data and linking that to the latitude longitude. It just happens to be that the latitude longitude on that AE map tends to. This is what we were talking about before about projections and how these geometries are laid out in terms of the graticule. So it's a formulation of the graticule, but the lat long is still going to link with the sky of what we call the right ascension declination, and then the lat of the sky, and then the lat long on the ground. And that's essentially it's really what stellarium's doing as well. Now stellarium puts a little like a field where it looks like you're playing frisbee out with your dog in the field. That's what stellarium does. Just puts a cheesy graphic. Walter Bislin just put an AE map kind of cartoon looking graphic.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter which map you're using, which distribution of coordinates you're using. On a flat Earth and on a globe Earth, they are different. They are fundamentally different. If you have 6 nautical miles per degree on one, there's no way you can get it also on the other one.
Well, you can if you make the distance to the equator 6,210 miles, then 1 degree for all 90 will be the 69 mile. If that distance, so from the North Pole lat long point and right ascension declination to the equator, if that's 6,210 miles, then it's going to break down to 69 miles per degree. When that breaks down. Now the AE map does some of those, like say that the distance from the equator to the North Pole is actually 3959, and that's actually what it would be with the 24,901 mile circumference claim. And that's one of the kind of things with the AE map. So if you're referring to that part of it, I hear you. It actually doesn't work on that because the 1 degree per 69 is 6,210 miles. It's not 3959. So, but if you have the distance on a planar Earth from the North Pole to the equator that is 6210, then the 1 degree per 69 matches with that layout. Do you agree with that?
But only across longitudes. For example, if you take a star that is moving the northern hemisphere, and then you wait until it drop 30 degrees, that's one distance. If you do the same on the southern hemisphere, that's a different distance. So it's not following 6 nautical miles per degree because it's the same amount of degrees on both, but you're getting a different distance on both.
Wait, are you talking about going like in the south, going upon latitude, versus the north going upon the latitude? Or which one?
Yeah, let's say you're in the.
You said only on the longitudes. Well, I mean, I was referring to more of a longitudinal type thing, like from the equator to the North Pole going straight. So yeah, that is what I was referring to. If you're talking about trying to go east to west with the 1 degree per 69, I do hear you. The AE Gleason's map has a conflict there in the south with that.
Yeah, so it can work in some directions, as I'm not opposed to that, but it can't work generally, like regardless on direction or position. That's the difference between the globe and flat Earth. The globe just assumes 6 nautical miles per degree everywhere in all directions. There is no exception. It's just a universal thing on the globe. So
yeah, but that's
if you translate.
Sorry. Well, the dual pole does not have that conflict, whereas the AE does. So you can't, if you're just linking AE with a planar Earth and saying that issue is there, I guess if that's your argument, but that's not an issue on a two pole system, a two pole planar system where the longitude lines converge in the south, expand out, go to the equator, and then go back and then converge to the north. So there's convergence going to the 2 points. Then the latitude lines don't get stretched out on the out like the way they do on the A.E. Gleason's map on the outer rim. They actually funnel down to the South Pole, and therefore that's not a conflict on the dual pole.
Okay, so to avoid getting from model to model, showing one by one where they fail, like I just posted a link. I can explain here, but I'm putting all the details there, where you can generally discard all flat models at once without having to try one by one, because you.
Bacon's going for the grand slam. You're gonna knock them
Yeah,
all out.
I'm saying like
I
if you
was
pick.
gonna say before, dude, Bacon might be one of the best hopes the globe has. You're not gonna make it because it's not a globe, but I mean, you're cordial. You're focused on this. It's good. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you.
Bacon's top 5.
Anyway, yeah, on that link, like I'm getting the distance between 4 stars between their 4 GPs. So I go from one GP side the other 3. I mean, I'm not doing that in Stellarium. I'm assuming Stellarium is accurate. Given that the distances, if you apply to the 6 nautical miles per degree, the distances you get between these 4 stars are not reconcilable with a planar surface. Like you have 6 distances between the 4 points. You can only lay them 5 of them on a plane. The 6th one is always going to be too large or too small to fit. So it does discard any flat possibility for the 6 nautical miles, because those distances are not coplanar, which means they cannot all fit a plane simultaneously. So the 6 nautical miles per degree would have to be different on a flat plane. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, are you getting down to like the question of whether it's hyperbolic, like whether it is 1 degree per 69 through the entire thing? Because we were talking about like overall is the overall distance of if it broke down to like, I mean, the claim of 1 degree per 69, if that's just a straight claim, then that claim is every single degree. It's exactly 69 miles. But there is the question down at the horizon, what happens in terms of refraction. Then there's the question even up at 70 to 90 degrees. So there seems to be more like this band between like, 20 and 70 where the claim is the case. And I've never gone out myself and done a 69 miles and then checked 1 degree. I haven't done that. If anyone in here has, then let us know. But I don't necessarily feel any strong need to contest it for several reasons. At the moment,
yeah, that's all right.
But outside of all that, like, what if it like is the discussions that it doesn't follow exactly 1 degree per 69 through the whole thing, that there is some variation, and of course, when you can't ever really, there's always the refraction at the horizon question as well. So what, because that's how we'd have to go more nuanced to get to that level of it. If you're saying how it's actually matching out to the distances from different positions on Earth.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if you want to claim a flat Earth, you can't simultaneously claim the 6 nautical miles per degree. If you want to say, okay, maybe that 6 nautical miles per degree is not right, that maybe there is a variation.
What you would need, what I would be compelled, because I hear what you're saying, and I'm trying to take your argument in as best faith as all possible, in terms of just getting to the truth. So I hear what you're saying and your point, because basically, if you have several points on a planar surface, you don't even really need the stars. You can just do distances on the ground. And when there's enough of them, it's either only going to fit on be planar, like those points have to be coplanar, or on a sphere or a different shape.
Yeah.
So I hear you on that. But to make this more compelling, you'd have to physically measure the distances between the points on the ground, tangibly and physically. That would be compelling. But you're going off the stars and the 1 degree per 69, and is that your argument, saying that you don't think it matches any planar surface?
Yes, exactly. So I'm saying, assuming Stellarium is accurate, the 6 nautical miles per degree and the flat Earth are not compatible with each other, so they can't both be true. So if you want to go with one, you have to drop the other.
Well,
that's essentially
that's based on star angle. Because you're getting
Yeah.
a whole nother deal with the stars. There could be refraction, crystalline, material.
that doesn't matter.
Superfluid. Well, I think it does, because if you're using the star to evaluate your distance instead of actually measuring the distance on ground, now you could be dealing with refracted star positions. And we always talk about how the sky, I mean, I do, has spherical natures to it. Like, there's no question in my mind. The sky's motion, and it's a toroid, so it has spherical dynamics.
But even if you have refraction or whatever mechanism that shifts the position of the stars, when we talk about 6 nautical miles per, we were talking about the 6 nautical miles per degrees that we observe. So whatever the mechanism that is producing that, we are already acknowledging or accepting whatever mechanism that is. Actually, that's described on the document I posted. I already say right in the beginning that whatever is the mechanism for the stars to behave like that on flat Earth, I'm taking it. I'm just accepting whatever it is that makes the stars look like that, and still I'm getting to a contradiction. So that's why I'm saying it's either one or the other. The 6 nautical miles per degree plus the data the Stellarium gives us result in distances that are not coplanar, are not possibly coplanar.
Your claim is that, just to steelman what you're saying, your claim is that when you're taking angles to stars, if you apply a strict 1 degree per 60 nautical miles to it, just apply it across the board, 100%, and what, you're removing all refraction, all apparent positions of anything? You're claiming
no corrections.
Exact position? Well, you're putting a very strict kind of structure on this, like the 1 degree.
I addressed the correct, like it doesn't matter if you apply or not the corrections, because the corrections we used for the stars are smaller than the amount of error we get here on flat. So even if you apply or not the refraction corrections, it's still not matching flat. Still not possibly matching flat.
All right. Well, let's leave refraction aside for a moment. Let me ask you this: is the general thing you're doing here is that you're using an angle to a star to measure a distance on the ground?
Yes, assuming the 6 nautical miles per degree.
So you're assuming the 1 degree per 60 nautical miles. Then you're claiming that the angles to the stars, you're then using that to measure a distance only by using an angle to a star and an assumption.
Exactly.
Well, it's not a total assumption. The 1 degree per 69. I mean, I have heard people like on the internet who have done it, who have claimed to have done it. I've seen some video, and I mean, I get a sense of how the sky moves as I move as well. So I mean, I just have the awareness of it. So obviously, it's like it is within range of that. But the question is, okay, so you're taking that's 1 degree per 60 nautical miles. Then you're taking angles to stars. Then you're just using I mean, it really is an assumption of 1 degree per 69 because you really haven't checked every star in every position that it actually does match that, right?
No, it just took one sample size of 4 stars.
Yeah, so okay, so the next step to this, let's just say I take everything that you said on face value. Let's just say let's just go with that, okay? Let's just say that we can go up and down our street 60 nautical miles and we can see the star move a degree. And let's say that just happens consistently for every star and every position on the Earth. Then let's just say that your angles are all correct. I guess we're removing refraction for the moment. And let's say if you apply the 1 degree per 60 nautical miles, you can triangulate distances that you're claiming don't fit on a planar surface. Even if we took all of your argument to its fullest, and even going with it fully, the question, or the thing that would settle it, in my view, if everything that you're saying is just taken on face value, would be to tangibly measure the distances on the ground and check them with what you get from that, and then see. And because that would either confirm, because you're basically using the stars to measure a distance on ground. You're not actually measuring the distance on ground.
Yeah,
you're using stars
exactly.
and assumptions and these angles to kind of be like, I'm calculating it. You're calculating it. You're calculating a distance based on a sky observation is really what this is.
Yes. So the way I'm calculating is with that assumption of 6 nautical miles per degree. So what I'm saying is if it turns out Earth is flat, then that will necessarily violate that assumption because that would mean the points I was measuring between have coplanar distances if they're on the same plane. So those are going to be different distances that I got by calculating them. And if I got by calculating them with 6 nautical miles per degree, and it turns out that the distance is different, that shows that the 6 nautical miles per degree is wrong. So for Earth to be flat, the 6 nautical miles per degree has to be wrong. It logically follows.
Okay, well, we already know it is down near the horizon, but you're just saying these are all like above 30, 40 degrees, or?
Yeah, the lowest angle I'm using there is 21, I think. No, that's zenith actually. the lowest altitude is, the lowest altitude is 21.
21.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, pretty low refraction. Like most people that are doing celestial navigation wouldn't even correct that. I think that's pretty safe to use. And the maximum is 68 degrees, which is also fine for a sextant.
Okay, so how much have you seen the verification of 1 degree per 60 nautical miles in your life around the Earth? Like, how much of the Earth do you think you've confirmed or seen
I
strong?
never measured any distance. Actually, I owe Roohif a distance measurement with a Thunder wheel.
Do you? No, you got Jesse. Give it to Jesse.
Well, I still have the Thunder wheel. I just have to. I'm not even living there anymore. That's probably gonna take a while.
Okay. Yeah.
But I intend to do it someday because I mean you send me for free the thing, so I owe you.
Yeah, I mean, celestial navigation ultimately, like the plotting of the stars with the ground, ultimately do give away the shape of the Earth. But it can also be twisted into like the globe model in my viewpoint, the way the sky functions. But what you've laid out, I hear what you're saying in general. So yeah, I mean, you agree with me that measuring tangibly on the ground would be really good to confirm further. And measuring more thoroughly this 1 degree per 60 nautical mile claim with many different stars in many different parts of Earth, because doesn't it seem like for as much as it's of the claim is there, and I mean, like I said, the sky does move as you move, so it's obviously going at a rate, so you can't really just hide that from all humanity, you know. Now, granted, if everybody hasn't tested all the areas, though, there could be something else going on with it. But for as much as it's claimed, like, how much actual tangible evidence is there of anyone like of this being shown in more locations around Earth? I'm not even questioning it, saying it's not the case. I'm just asking, what is your like level of evidence that you found that was compelling to you, or like to what degree? Because we're talking about whether it matches this, everywhere with every star, right?
There's a guy called Tiny Captain. I think he has as a job, he's always like on a ship. I don't know exactly what his job is, but he's often in the middle of the ocean. He has practical experience with celestial navigation. He has a sextant, and he takes some sites and records the time and also his GPS position, so we can compare with that. And it really doesn't seem to matter where he is. It always at least matches GPS to a very high degree of accuracy. Same for other people that have done the same. There's a guy called I don't remember his name, but he goes by Science It Out. He has a YouTube channel with that name. He also taken his sites in the middle of the ocean. I took in my house in the southern hemisphere sextant readings. I use Roohif's readings to actually find exactly where he lives. And that's also like
Bacon knows my address.
Australia. So yeah, I grabbed it from various different points on Earth, and it doesn't really seem to matter where you are. The accuracy seems to be roughly like 1 or 2 arc minutes if you can do good corrections.
Okay, so that's your strongest evidence that it's the case right now?
Yeah, but that's for the accuracy of the method, like using celestial navigation. I haven't measured the distances myself, but then we could get to flying times, but I think that's a whole different conversation. But
this is why I've said the method I've said, which would not even be one of the higher cost ones, but it does take a whole team and a fair amount of energy to do it. But basically, you get a fixed position of stars as if you like took a freeze frame of the sky, like stop the sky. And like I've always said, you can make it to where every night you can see the same sky by adjusting it by the 3 minutes 57 seconds, the sidereal versus the solar day. So if you adjust it every night, you can see the same exact freeze frame of the sky. So if you're celestially navigating, for example, you can, if you know that you want to get to a place that you already know where the GP of that star is, and if you do it the way I'm saying, and you freeze frame the sky, and then you change it by 3 minutes 57 seconds every night, so that you keep getting the same sky every night, all you then have to do is make a map of what star links with what ground point. And then from any point on Earth, you can do this technique and just, if you want to go like let's say the GP of Sirius or something. I'll just say a star, and you know that at the GP of Sirius, at that freeze frame moment, is an island that you want to get to. Well, now if you do this technique and adjust it 3 minutes 57 seconds every night when you're in your boat, all you do is just aim your boat to that star. That's all you have to do. Yeah,
what you're
awesome.
describing is that's exactly what's in the almanac. The data that we have for the stars is that frozen sky view.
No, I know.
So, but that's specific for when. So the exact moment that the sky is being frozen there is when the prime meridian or first point of Aries is over Greenwich. At that exact moment, that's what the data in the almanac is for. So yeah, that's exactly what you're describing. We have that. That's the almanac. It's not a almanac.
Yeah, we have the GP of every star at every time.
So that was just the first part of the whole thing. What I was going to say is that the way to measure or to get the shape of the Earth from the sky, so then you take the freeze frame of the sky, then you start taking angles to stars, and then you start plotting points on the ground. So angle to star, point it on the ground. Go a little closer to the star, another angle, put a plot on the ground. And essentially you have the circles of equal altitude that end up forming because you have these concentric circles coming out from the GP of every star. And basically that's what you have, like every GP point, the ground position of every star on the Earth, and then from each one, it goes out like concentric circles of distance, 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile. And if we could take angle measurements to all these stars and then be cross-referencing them, so taking an angle from this one to that one to this one to that one, you're taking angles all over, and you're plotting them on the ground, and they all match within either a concentric circle of a GP or an overlap of another, GP's concentric circles, and then you have the midpoint between those. Now, if you plotted all those out, they're all either going to be coplanar or they're going to curve around a sphere. If it actually was a sphere with a 3959 radius, those points would all actually curve to the 8 inches per mile squared if it was. And those are actual real points that are plotted on the ground. And it is using star angles, but at the same time, you're actually plotting it to the ground. So it does actually give the coplanar points end up being on the ground, and then they're either coplanar or they would be curving. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we've had this conversation 1,000 times. We have all the angles to any star at any time. Ask Stellarium.
Yeah, and Stellarium has them all on azimuthal grids. And the only way it turns it into a globe is it just assumes that those azimuthal grids like tilt as it goes around the center of a sphere. And you have a bunch of different azimuthal planes rather than just all one coplanar plane. Because the stars are actually mapped on azimuthal planes. That's what all the stars are mapped on. Even in Stellarium, all the stars are mapped on an azimuthal circular planar circle.
A star's position is its right ascension and declination. To convert that to where an observer would see it requires globe geometry. Anyway, Bacon, sorry.
No, you're good.
Look, think about it like this. We have two balls, one within the other. The inner one's the globe, the outer one's the celestial sphere. Each point of the inner ball, if you could do a straight line up, will correspond to a star. And they've built a system around that. 69 miles per degree, and this is consistent everywhere. Now, let's take that celestial. Now, we have the globar one, okay? Let's take the dual pole one. Where do the points on the dual pole map correspond to that celestial sphere? This isn't a challenge on anyone, but this is something to think about. The globe has ball within ball, simple. Each point has a GP. Everyone at all points considered will have a GP unique to them, corresponding to that celestial sphere. And all
what if we have a superfluid above us in which the stars are all moving in a spherically toroidal fashion?
Has to be
shown.
Points have to be attached to a shape. It's just words is not going to be enough.
No, but that's how it would work. You'd have a toroidal sky that maps down to a planar Earth.
Demonstrate it. Show it.
Because toroids have spherical geometry.
I can't do anything with that.
You know how toroids have spherical geometry intertwined with them?
I can't do anything with that.
You don't know about that?
Mapping to a GP.
Do you understand? A toroid.
You post all kinds of images that show that.
You could wrap a sphere around the toroid, right? Where are the four corners of the dual pole map on that toroid that you could wrap a sphere around?
I'm not really talking about a dual pole at the moment. I'm just talking about the sky in terms of.
That's what we're talking about right now. Is the dual pole?
Well, I was just talking above a planar Earth. I mean, how the map would be laid out and all that is a whole nother question, but yeah, I mean, it can be entwined into the conversation, I suppose. But I was just referring to, in general, the sky having a spherical toroidal motion to it above a planar surface.
I don't know,
So
man.
in
Something
these
doesn't feel right.
conversations,
So that accounts for
yeah,
why the sky is globular and why you're talking about how, like, in the globe, I'll just say this and I'll pass the mic. The globe says we're on a ball, and then the celestial sphere is this huge, much larger ball, which is basically like an infinite radius because they're treated as infinitely far away. And then they claim the light rays are coming in parallel. That's invoking a planar geometry. And so, alternatively, as the ancients always had, they always had a celestial sphere above. That was part of whether it's like hemispherical shaped, or they had the layers of the ether that were always like had kind of that at least that hemispherical structure, which is why a planetarium has to be made in a planetarium has to be made in a hemisphere as well. That's all related. So whatever the sky is, it does seem to have this spherical nature to it, and then the ground would be planar. So that's why, like,
where is the?
it's the alternative to the. I mean, the idea. Well, the globe was the alternative to say we're on a ball and the stars are surrounding us in a ball, whereas the ancients all said the sky is like the celestial sphere is going up and the quintessence, ether, all of that, and then we're on the plane of existence.
The issue that Bacon and Roohif were trying to explain, a celestial sphere and a flat Earth in any way, shape, or form, they're not. There is an error. It doesn't work.
Let me ask you this: in Stellarium, you agree that there's like an azimuth.
Do you understand why it doesn't
angle?
work? Do you understand
I'll tell you why it
work?
does work. I'll tell you why it does work. Please don't interrupt me.
He doesn't understand.
If you don't want to go back and forth,
excuse me. It's
you don't want to go back and
it's
forth,
rude
and I'll talk to someone else, but you're interrupting
deviate
me.
from what I was talking about to what you want to talk about. Can we
I'm
have
responding
a
precisely to
conversation
your
on this
question.
topic?
You'll have to let me
okay,
speak.
I'm going on mute. Fuck it.
Okay. So it's an exact, precise response. You just didn't want to listen and became impatient and interrupted me. So on Stellarium, you have a planar azimuthal grid, which is a plane. And then every single latitude and longitude that you pull up on it shows you a hemisphere of stars. That's why a planetarium can be replicated with a flat floor and a hemisphere of stars. Every single star that has ever existed is mapped to a planar circle, and that's what Stellarium is. The globe just claims that it's putting those around a ball, and they're all changing in orientation. So it was a direct response to what you're saying. How does this spherical sky get mapped to the planar grid? It already is in every planetarium software that has existed, even before the globe model, and that's why it's still the foundation. The planar one with the azimuthal grid and then the hemispherical dome is what every planetarium is. That's basically how the Earth is experienced by every human, other than these ones that are claiming to be going to space and seeing it as a ball. But everyone sees a hemisphere and with that azimuthal grid, and all those azimuthal grids are all coplanar.
Okay, Gio, let's see if you've picked up something. What are the non-observer centric coordinates of a star?
I don't even understand that question. I've been waiting to say something for like half hour.
Yeah, I know. I've been going a lot. So if you guys want to jump in, Roohif, I was kind of responding to Gatebreakers because it was precisely related to his point. But if that's fine, if we wanted to move on, I mean, others can get into
the same
it,
topic.
Whatever you
How
just
do we
said didn't
describe
really
the coordinates of a star?
Didn't make any sense because I didn't.
There's a globe presumption built into the question for sure.
No, incorrect. What are the globe? What are the coordinates of a star described using? There are two coordinates to a star. What are they?
You have right ascension, declination in the sky, and latitude and longitude on the ground. So Stellarium is pulling up whatever your right ascension, declination / latitude and longitude on the ground. Stellarium is going to bring up that hemispherical view of the sky with an azimuthal grid, a planar grid.
Right ascension, declination is correct. Are you aware that to convert right ascension and declination into an altitude and azimuth requires the Earth to be a globe? To go from RA Dec into the altaz that you get in Stellarium, it's globe geometry.
I'm taking the opportunity. Fuck it. All
There's
right.
no globe geometry. No, there's no globe geometry. The stars are just they're directly down onto a plane. Because if you take an azimuth,
Yeah, let me say what I want to say, please, please.
Well, I'll just say this very brief thing. If you take a star chart, it's a flat disk. That's what a star chart is. They're also called planispheres. The name planisphere, the planisphere charts, and also just general star charts, because you can have, like, when you have the hemisphere dome of stars, if you just flatten that basically, then it goes onto a planar grid. So every star above a plane of Earth, it would just be mapped straight down. There's no need for any globe in that. It's straight from the sky, straight down. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. All right. Gatebreaker, like 15 minutes ago, said 1 degree per 60 nautical miles is consistent everywhere. No, it's not. Pierre Bouguer, he was like in France, taking angles to stars to find the oblateness of the spheroid, confirming that it's not consistent 1 degree per 60 nautical miles everywhere. It's also flat at the poles. This is where it matters the most. This is where you're not going to get 1 degree per 60 nautical miles for sure. And then because you guys presume you're on a globe, this is the important part. You know, you want to get a reading of zenith, you need vertical to know the altitude angle to a star. And vertical is deflecting because of centrifugal forces. And I don't think you guys are always accounting for that when you pretend you're getting your 60 nautical miles per degree. You guys pretend like everything is a perfect ball, but it's definitely not.
Watch this.
It's
Hey, bro,
pedantic,
you sound
but it
really,
is correct that
you
it's not
sound really.
exactly 60 nautical miles.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, so the 6 nautical miles per degree, of course, won't match the oblate spheroid. You would only match the sphere. That doesn't affect celestial navigation though, because celestial navigation we are using the astronomic coordinates or the geodetic coordinates. Those already have built in all the deflection on the vertical you're referring to. That's already part of the geodetic coordinate system, because it takes into account the ellipsoid as a reference. It uses the ellipsoid as a reference to establish latitude.
Yeah, I'm sure you think that it's going to perfectly match when you go in the southern
it doesn't
hemisphere.
perfectly match, but nothing perfectly matches.
I would bet money that it's not going to.
If you do celestial navigation purely with angles and not saying it's 60 nautical miles exactly per degree, if you do it purely with angles, like using the sight reduction tables, then it works perfectly. Right? But if you draw circles of equal altitude using 60 nautical miles per degree, then it will be off by, I think it's like, is it 0.5%, something like that?
No, the answer, no. The result is the same. It would only be different if you try to draw circles using 6 nautical miles per degree on an ellipsoid. Then that's not going to match exactly.
Yeah.
But if you draw on a sphere with 6 nautical miles per degree, or you draw on an ellipsoid using the right distance for ellipsoid, then those should be compatible.
Agreed.
So you said that they have tables they appeal to correct for centrifugal forces, right?
No. I'm saying the latitude we use, it has already the error in it. So, for example, if you would use latitude, assuming Earth is a sphere, let's say we are using GPS data that treats Earth as a sphere, not as an ellipsoid, then GPS would not agree with celestial navigation, because celestial navigation would give you the error you're referring to. However, the error that you're referring to is actually the difference between the geocentric coordinates, which the GPS would give you, to the astronomic coordinates, which are the ones that has the error. So GPS
the ellipsoid, yeah.
Yeah, so the GPS is actually going to use the ellipsoid instead, which will match the astronomic coordinates. So the error you're saying is just the shift between geocentric coordinates and geodetic coordinates. And because we already use geodetic coordinates, then there's not going to be any mismatch. It's like
I'm interested in use. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was.
You said that they don't account for centrifugal forces. Are you saying that wouldn't deflect your vertical, which would affect your angle when you get closer to the poles?
It is deflecting vertical. It is deflecting the vertical, but it's also deflecting.
How do you account for that?
Well, you don't need to.
You're not even there for when it's going to happen. The angle you're taking to the stars, like the Southern Cross, you're like significantly far away from it, where you're not even going near it to see if there's centrifugal forces affecting the angle.
Yeah. Have you accounted? I have a joke. Have you accounted for the 66,000 mile per hour path around the sun?
The eccentric.
Yeah, no, they don't have to, right?
You don't
The
have to account
centrifugal
for that.
force is what causes the oblateness, and that's already
Yeah,
taken
but that would
into
affect the tilt. Yeah, no, the perihelion and aphelion would affect the tilt. That would also affect the angle. Is that in the tables? Did you correct for that too?
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
You
this
guys don't have
question
to
you're
correct for
asking.
things.
Those are all
This
things
question
that
you're
are
asking.
entailed with being on an actual rotating ball. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
the
are all.
question of the centrifugal force on Slash is actually a very good question. It boggled me for a while. I had that question myself. I didn't know the answer until I was trying to convert between ECF and latitude and longitude. And when I was doing that, I was using the Earth's geocentric coordinate system, and it was not matching with, let's say, Google Maps. I was using that. You know that Jesse Kozlowski, I think, he went over a bridge, Lake Pontchartrain, and then he recorded like GPS data and all that. So I was working with that data. I was
But
trying to
you know the speed of the rotation, you know the distance from the axis, so you can calculate how much a plumb line is going to be deflected based on your latitude. And then that should be in your table all for every latitude. You should have that to appeal to when you're taking angles to stars trying to get a
Jesse,
zenith.
it's
we
already in
don't
the
need to.
oblateness.
Yeah, they just
It's
assume
already
it.
in the oblateness. No,
Like,
not assumed, measured.
And the biggest thing about this is like you guys only took angles to the Southern Cross from like thousands of miles away. You guys aren't truly verifying the geographical position where you're going to see it overhead if it really comports with the globe, the entire southern hemisphere. You guys
oh,
you take angles from way too far and then you just call it a day.
no, but there are stars that go over, let's say, cities, and you can check the how high the star appears over that city, and it goes overhead. At least if you check Stellarium, it definitely does. And if you don't want to check Stellarium, you have to find some place where a star goes overhead and check for yourself. Like Sirius doesn't go exactly over my house. It's there's like a 1 or 2 degrees difference. But I can see it going pretty much overhead.
There's so many things in Stellarium that's like, yeah, here's the straightforward just globe, and then here's the refraction, centrifugal force, all your errors. It's just ellipsoid and
We
geoid. Like
Well, if we just take, Stellarium does have a few different settings and things, and it is like its own little design of what it does. But if it's stripped down to like the most natural form, if you're looking at the true positions of everything, that's essentially what has been known about, for eons of time, like, and has always been mapped over planar grids. So, like those, the star charts are like they're very consistent.
too consistent.
So if we get a flat Earth map, let's say the dual pole, and we lay out stars over it, and it does its toroidal counter rotation, there's corners of this map, right? Where are those corner stars in relation to the celestial sphere?
Who are you asking?
Anyone.
Can you say that again?
Your dual pole flat Earth setup, there's stars overlaid. There's corner stars. We keep hearing it's based on a celestial sphere this. Ancients have that. Ancients have based on a. Okay, where are these corner stars plotted on the celestial sphere? It's gonna be a learning lesson. Because the globe's celestial sphere, all points of that sphere directly correlate to the lesser sphere beneath it, which is the globe.
Well, you have the 2 rotation points, and then you can go 90 degrees to each of those, which could be like the 4 corners of the earth that like a lot of the ancient text talked about. That could be what they meant, because it's kind of like it's like a plus sign, like a cross, and so on.
Where is that on the celestial sphere?
Well, if you take a sphere and then you like move it sideways and then push it through like a flat sheet of paper and then mark all those points as it hits the paper, you end up with like that stereographic, like that electric field with the 2 poles. So I'm just saying, if you have the 2 poles and then you have like the equator, and whatever would be at like the east side and the west side of the equator would be 2 points, and then the two poles would be 2 points. So you would have like 4 corners.
Yeah, how far away in the sky would a star in one edge of the map be from the other edge of the map?
I don't think there. I don't think there'd be any like corner stars though. There would be potentially those points you could go to though, like if you actually went there physically.
Yeah. Did you
But
see that image I posted?
it would all look like in a continuous like toroid.
Yeah, you see that image I posted?
Yeah, I love that one.
If we did a freeze frame on this, the stars at the edges, how far away would they be from each other?
Went through this with A1 last night.
Hey, that picture is what's actually happening. Yeah, that's reality right there.
Because reality actually is those stars at the edges are actually 1 point right next to each other, because this is a sphere flattened out at the equator. So the middle of this picture is the opposite side of the sphere that is actually the edges of this map. So a celestial sphere applied to this setup of the flat Earth, or any setup of the flat Earth, would create these discrepancies of having these 4 corners and this is way over here and that's way over there. Well, actually, if I've got the data, star map plotted out in that manner, the stars at the outer edges are actually 1 point, and that's the issue with any flat Earth setup. The Gleason, dual pole, anything. This is the issue of flattening out a sphere. There is no beautiful, seamless way to do it.
Sorry. I just want to hear Roohif say what he said in text chat. So according to that ellipsoid model, how zenith doesn't always point towards the center of the Earth. Therefore, if I take angles to stars and I circumnavigate, I'm not going to get the circumference of the Earth, right?
What?
Yeah, because okay. Do you know what I'm saying, Gatebreaker?
I don't.
No, you just want to ignore what I was
In your
saying.
diagram with the ellipsoid, you got this oblate spheroid, and zenith isn't pointing towards the center. If that's what you say is happening on a globe, you're not going to find that 3959 radius doing polar circumnavigation.
We all know what's happening on the
different
globe.
radiuses, right?
We all know what's happening on the globe.
Boom. Yeah, I wanted to hear you say it.
Everyone here was once a glober, remember? We don't need to debate.
So therefore, according to Roohif, if you take angles to stars and you travel south, you're not going to find that radius.
Jesse, calm down your arrogance. It's only holding you back in life. Remember the star issue that I brought up earlier. Direct your brain to that. That's the issue. That might possibly save you.
Yeah,
don't
got really
just
close to your mic to say that, dude.
Dance for you to bring you comfort.
Jesse, we have a polar radius and an equatorial radius. They're slightly different. Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, you know what I'm getting at. Why do you have to play oblivious?
No, let's go through it because I didn't really get it either. We can just go through one thing at a time.
All right, yeah, Roohif's diagram. You see it in the text chat?
Seven past.
In the ellipsoid model, depending on where you are, like how close you are to the poles, zenith doesn't point towards the center of mass of the Earth. So therefore, if you actually did circumnavigation, you're not going to find the radius of 3959.
I got you. Okay, what's your rebuttal now, Roohif?
Yeah, we have a polar radius and an equatorial radius. They are different.
My point is okay, you guys take angles to stars from super far away. Like you got a star at like 80 degrees and then you got a star at 20 degrees and you're like, oh my God, 3959 is so cool, right? But what if you actually traveled and actually observed the 1 degree per 60 nautical miles? You just said that's not going to happen. It's not going to be 1 degree per 60 nautical miles.
Right, not precisely, but it's very, very close. Because of oblateness, the 1 degree of latitude at the poles is like 59.9 something nautical miles. And at the equator, it's like 60.01 or something.
You see how off that zenith is from the center of mass? Are you saying that's because of centrifugal forces or because it's an ellipsoid?
Jackass.
Both. The
I'm being
centrifugal
really
force
nice
is
to you,
what
bro.
gives you. It's both. It's the same thing. If you add the centrifugal force to the sphere, you get it at the ellipsoid.
Yeah, in fact, I've got a GeoGebra that does exactly that.
Hey, what?
So you already conceded to my point, so
GeoGebra.
thanks.
GeoGebra.
What-
Is that like
when you
algebra?
say conceded,
Oh yeah,
right? The implication is that I got something wrong. I
Roohif's a wizard on
acknowledge and assert that the Earth has a polar and an equatorial radius.
I could see Roohif as a wizard.
Yeah, zenith doesn't point towards the center of the Earth. Thank you.
Correct. It's not a concession.
So you're never going to find 3959 radius by measuring angles to stars.
Again, I'll just say the Earth has a polar and an equatorial radius because it's oblate, because it's rotating.
That's
I'm
a
not
cool
getting your
presumption.
point. Not a presumption. It's been measured.
Man, I'm just going off of what I see.
Yep. Let me find the. Is that
All right,
oblate's
so
not right?
you say you're accounting for your oblateness. That's your claim. You're getting all oblate with it out there. All right, here I'm going to post this real quick.
Latitude.
Hold on, let me just
Latitude
say
incorporates oblateness.
Okay. Well, if you, Jess, if you wanna like rebut that, but just this image I posted real quick, in terms of the stars and how they can be spherical but planar. If you take that sphere there, obviously, if you go down to the bottom, you're going to the AE map kind of thing. But I did the green arrows there just to show. But if you take the ball and then the sphere and those coordinates go on that vertical wall, like you move it sideways, that's how all that grid maps out, and that's very similar to the way the sky looks. So there's no like shortcuts or anything that has to happen because you get every coordinate on that sphere as it moves and rotates that would all match up with a point. That's why you can make a star disk on a planar surface as well. Anyway, so it's just going back to that. So if you have a two-pole system, it can actually function like a sphere, but be like a planar surface above a planar Earth, potentially, or it could have a dome shape to it. But either way, you can have the coordinates match the same coordinates as what it would be if it was actually a sphere going all the way around you. And that's how this globe model is able to be interpreted
You see
from
where
that.
You see where? Thank you for that. Thank you for that. You see where that E is in that image you posted? That E.
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's directly over the opposite side of of that ball where map is the other side. This is just my claim. Is no one has to defend it. This is just what I understand. Where that E is, that point where it's over. That point on that celestial sphere has been split apart, and every point around that E has been put to the outer edges. So let's pretend we don't see the flat versions. We just see the ball.
Yeah, it's
There's
like a flat
stars.
sphere. It's a planisphere, like a
There's
plane sphere.
stars plotted all around that ball. We're at one point around that E, they've stretched the position of those stars and put it at the outer edges. That's actually what those little squares are on that flat map. You see all those little regions of area we see represented as these squares? And they get really tight and compact in the center, but at the outer edges, they're starting to expand. This is I'm claiming this. No one has to. This is a direct visual representation of the distortion in distances that is one sees before their eyes in order for that sphere to be put on that flat sheet of paper. In actuality, on the globe, if you can see the globe, you see how like around the equator, they're all the same size, rectangle wise. They're all the same. If you were all around the ball, they're like the same rectangle little region of area all around the equator. But look at the equator on the dual pole map. Those regions get really tight, and this isn't just the dual pole. In my opinion, dual pole is the best that we can do on FE. But back to the topic. Those squares get really tight in this middle and get very, very large towards the outer edges. I recommend you guys go and figure out what that means in relation to the celestial sphere, in relation to distances.
Who wants a lesson in centrifugal force and oblateness?
Me.
We already know what the ball presumes, but we don't know if that's what actually happens.
Not presumed. Measured, Jesse. You keep fucking it up. Measured.
This is not a measurement. This is some mathematics.
No, we have measured that the 60 nautical miles per degree is longer at the equator and shorter near the poles. We've also measured
that's to be
the
expected.
weight.
That's to be expected.
Is it?
Yep.
It's expected on a globe that rotates, yes. Why is it expected on a flat Earth?
Yeah, but you are suspect of nothing more in your life right now than the globe. It seems like the globe is the highest
It's just
suspect that you're.
projection, Geo. Why do you keep
So-
projecting?
We know what you think has to happen if you were on a ball. It's just that's not what actually we observe or anything.
What don't we observe? What do
Well,
we
for
observe?
instance, you think that your vertical is deflecting the closer you get to the poles, right? But all you can truly observe from your reference frame is true vertical. It literally just looks like vertical. You presume that it's deflecting. You presume that it's deflecting from the center of mass. You see?
We have measured oblateness. We have measured.
You presume it's deflecting because the angle's not. You don't get the right angle. You say, "Oh, it's because my vertical's
we have
wrong."
measured centrifugal
Weird
force.
shaped ball.
I'll repeat it again. Like we have measured oblateness. we have
Wait a
measured
second. You
centrifugal
claim
force.
you claim to have measured. Okay, so what's the percentage? Do they affect matter, Roohif?
What?
Yeah, you measure the amount that a vertical is going to deflect near the north and south pole.
Hang on,
No.
Data. What was that?
He hasn't done that.
No, nobody's done that. Nobody's been at the North Pole to do that.
Yeah, because all you're going to reference is vertical, man. In that reference frame, you're just looking at vertical. How do you know it's deflected from vertical?
Right, because we've measured the oblateness.
Oh, that's so silly.
Yeah, you'd have to describe how you think you did that again. But the thing is that if you have a toroidal sky or a spherical sky or a hemispherical sky, any of the above, over a planar surface, you're going to get the spherical nature of the sky. So when you keep saying these things match the globe, what I would question from you is, have you considered that it's just an interpretation of the globular nature of the sky and then projected onto an assumption of a sphere without actually validating that the ground actually has the curvature, or like they're saying the deflecting verticals and so on, actually confirming that, because that's one of the things that would be like, you could say like a tiebreaker. Like if you could interpret the sky and the ground in different ways, well, to know which one's the different, you'd have to verify the ground. You'd have to actually have something that would actually show the difference. Okay. And that it was actually like the plumb lines are diverging, the curvature is actually happening, that there's a center, and then let alone rotation and all that too.
When people say the sky has a shape, I don't know what that means, and I don't think they know what that means.
Well, you think the shape is an infinite sphere, right? Infinite radius sphere?
No, that's
just how
a
you map
coordinate.
it.
Yeah, that's a coordinate system.
Mapping it.
Well, what do you think the shape of the sky is? An ever-expanding space?
I don't think the sky has a shape. I think you can point in a direction to something, and it's there.
I'm saying in your model. What is the shape of your sky in your model of what you think the world is?
The celestial sphere is a conceptual sphere. It is a coordinate system. It's a pointing system.
Okay, so you use the word conceptual sphere. Does it have an infinite radius, or what is the radius of this conceptual sphere, using your word?
Effectively infinite, yes.
Okay, an effectively infinite radius.
It's a coordinate system.
Assumed sphere.
Does a coordinate system have a shape? It's a direction pointing system.
It does, because in your model, it would surround you 360 degrees if the Earth wasn't there.
Right. Yeah.
That the shape would be
in any direction. It doesn't have a shape. Like it's,
Dude, why are you pretending?
Thing.
But why are you pretending you can't picture this? Walter Bislin already made the model. You have a little ball around the observer's position, and it just creates. Oh, are you having trouble? Because I'm trying to help you.
No, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about this little grid that Walter Bislin places over the person. That's not a physical thing either. That's just a direction pointing system.
This is what's giving the radius to the sky and the position of the celestial object.
He's not a radius.
He's not tracing the
Hold on, Gatebreaker. I want him to understand. Stop trying to make it worse. What you're seeing in the sky, like the curvature of the sky, how it looks like a celestial sphere, that's happening. I guess you really don't want to understand.
The sky does not have curvature.
Yeah, it does.
It's a nonsensical thing to say.
What the heck are we look, dude? What is an azimuth? Like, how are you going to say that there's no curvature to the sky when you measure azimuth angles, which is based on a circle?
Exactly. If you point at the horizon and then you keep angling your arm up and up at a higher elevation angle, you're literally tracing a hemisphere or a circle.
You're just pointing in any direction or half of the directions.
Any angular measurement will describe a circle.
Yes, the positions of stars can be plotted along a circle.
Wait, what was that thing that Bacon just posted?
What's so hard, Roohif? What the heck?
The sky doesn't have a shape. There's no shape to like empty space with things in it.
I don't know why you think
in whatever direction, and you use 2 circular coordinates to point in that direction. It's not a dome.
If I were to say that it seems like the world, there's some kind of hemispherical region above us. Now, if you were to say that it's actually surrounding you, going all the way around a ball, is that the leap you're making? Just claim that that's how you're getting an infinite radius celestial sphere concept out of this?
The Earth has a shape because it's a physical thing.
I agree. Let's start there.
Right.
We agree on something.
The sky doesn't have a shape. It's just empty space.
Why do you call it the celestial sphere?
It's a pointing system. It's a coordinate system. I've said that 10 times now.
Are those coordinates laid out in a sphere?
Yes.
So
it's like a sphere.
System.
So it is a sphere.
A huge number of those stars actually have distances as well.
You just told them it's not.
You got to take off. You got to take off the spaces, the empty vacuum glasses.
The sky does not have a shape.
It would have to, even on a globe model, it would have a spherical shape around a spherical globe Earth. That's what you're. That
I can make a conceptual one around it.
Hang on.
It's a pointing system.
They made a conceptual globe. Yes, they made a conceptual globe and a conceptual star field around it based off the actual spherical nature of the sky.
Can I step in?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So when we're talking about latitude and longitude on the ground, we're describing points over the surface of the sphere. When we're talking about the coordinates we have for the stars, we have similar coordinates. They're also spherical coordinates, but they're not describing the positions of the stars on the surface of a sphere. They're describing their direction. So the spherical coordinate system we use for the stars don't represent a position at the surface of the sphere. It represents just a direction away from Earth. So
no, but it is a position because that's the GP. So of course it's a position.
No, that's different. The GP is going to be latitude and longitude. The position of the star is going to be right ascension and declination. The right ascension and declination are used to encode the direction of the star, but it doesn't specify how far it is because that's not part of the coordinate system. It's just direction. So that doesn't have a shape because it's just assigning directions.
Thank you, Baker. You said that better than I could.
That's a very good description. Yeah.
That's why I have to step in.
Bacon's top glober now. I think we should take your name.
Oh, he might be number 2 now.
I think
what number am I? How far down the rankings do I sit?
I say you could have been 3, but you're inactive for too long.
You're at least a little bit more honest there, riding on eggshells.
Hey, why are you guys congratulating Bacon? I missed it.
Because he explained that it's not that you're mapping the surface, it's just that the celestial sphere is giving you a direction. So the direction being a bearing maps easily into a sphere, but that doesn't mean the thing it's pointing at.
That goes back to the original point.
The direction, not a surface.
Yeah, the geometric position. Sorry. The geometric position that you're seeing the star is a direction, right? And, all those positions that you're able to see the star in whatever direction you're facing, that sphere has a radius of 3959 and it's literally in the sky. So I don't know what you're going to do about that.
Thing with a radius of 3959 in the sky.
Yeah, the celestial sphere has a radius of 3959.
Yeah. So what's happening?
So what happens? What happens when something is further away than 3959? What do you see?
Yeah, where's the moon?
All right. Can I just say this real quick? All right, if you were out in just open, ever-expanding space, right? So just forget that there's any shape to this space. It's just an infinitely expanding thing, right? Which is kind of what the model says now, but let's just go with that, okay? Then you're just plopped in the middle of it. There you are. You're a human being. And you're just pointing your finger forward. That's it. You're just pointing forward as if you're pointing to someone or whatever. And then you're spinning around You're spinning around, going up, down, left, right. Basically, your finger that you're just holding out, as you go, since you're in this open free space, as you go on all the XYZ axis, you could call that a pointing system, which I know is kind of how you're referring to it. That's fine. I understand that. And even if you're going to say you don't even have to know how far, where the stars actually are, it's just a pointing system away from a sphere. That's fine. But the thing is that in the analogy of if you're a human out there in open space and you're just pointing your finger as you're tumbling, up, down, left, right, going all around, your finger is going to be tracing a whole sphere around you. And therefore, it is the shape of a sphere because it's from one point in the middle, going out the whole 360 degrees, up, down, left, right, etc., is what that's claimed to be. So
your finger will trace out a sphere because your finger has a finite distance from you.
Yeah, and that's your surface of the presumed globe Earth.
Okay. Cool.
Where this all really falls apart, like you can picture you're on the equator, right? On your perfect globe model, you can see Polaris and Sigma Octantis. So that arc, the distance between those two stars over your head is going to be, half the circumference of the Earth. That's like, what is it? Fucking 12,000 miles.
20,000, yeah. So when you said the sky has a radius of 3959, what happens to stars that are further than 3959 away?
Wait, focus on what I was saying first, because that's total derail.
Well, it is
back to what you said a minute ago.
kind of. I hear you could be seen as a derail, but actually, it is a good point because I was going to bring this up to you earlier, Jesse. Like, in just the consideration of it, is that they claim that the equator to the North Pole is like 6,210 miles. And I mean, you could drive even a car like from the equator, like I think all the way up to like 90 degrees north they let you go to, or maybe 80 something, whatever it is, like the furthest north place you can go. And you can like drive it technically, like maybe even drive a car all the way from there to the equator. So somebody could actually like check the distance. But if that's 6,210 miles, and when you're at the equator, that's when Polaris disappears. Would that imply, like, what do you think about that with the idea of our field of vision? If we could validate that we're seeing 6,210 miles, and then that's when Polaris disappears, for example, as you keep going south.
I thought you were talking about parallax and got a little confused. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying the 3959 celestial sphere idea that all the stars are 3959 away miles. I'm just saying, like, they claim the distance between the equator and the North Pole is 6,210 miles. So would that imply that we can actually see 6210 in your mind?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, exactly.
Like those two numbers, I think are built into the realm, but like, where do they fall? Like, where's the exact truth of where they fall? Obviously the globe has their interpretation, but.
Like the celestial sphere is still arcing overhead, right? Technically, I'm looking at half of the sphere. I see Polaris on one side, I see Sigma Octantis on the other. That means that the arc of the dome is going up 4,000 miles overhead.
Yeah, what do you think of this right here? I think, have you seen this animation? 3959, it shows that where you keep a 3959. See the 6210 though, in that it comes up in the arc length, like from the horizon all the way up to like the zenith. That distance, which is on what they say on the globe model, they say that from the equator to the North Pole, the distance is a 6210. But on this actual celestial sphere, the 6210, if you do the 3959 radius, the 6210 ends up basically being the distance from like where the horizon is all the way up to, the zenith or like the high noon position.
Yeah.
How it traces that out.
Like that's exactly. Yeah, you said it well. I've been trying to make that point.
But is this what it is for sure? But I mean, I guess this one implies you would only be seeing 3959 on the ground. And does that match with if Polaris really was 6,210 miles from the equator? Seems like it would have to be a 6,210 mile radius at that point. That's what I'm saying. I haven't really.
Yeah, I totally hear you now. Yeah, sorry.
I don't feel like within myself I've gotten to the bottom of like all of the components of like I know generally how these are laid in, but there's still some more to uncover.
I think that what this is actually implying is that the radius changes depending on whatever you want to pretend.
Very fluffy of you.
The radius of how far we can see changes as you move to different positions. Is that what you're saying?
Like we're picturing like an arc length overhead. If I'm standing on a ball and Polaris is like at 0 degrees to my left, Sigma Octane is 0 degrees to my right, that means that there's an arc length going overhead. Like the celestial sphere is going over my head, right? And that distance has to be 12,000 miles. That arc length from Polaris to Sigma Octantis is 12,000 miles. And then at the same time, that's like half the if you can't picture why that is just strange and you're just like jumping from one conclusion to another, then I don't know. I tried a bunch of times.
I've got a better solution. Who knows what it is?
Yeah, what Gio said about the 6,000, yeah, that was a good way to put it.
Well, there could be, okay, so if you treat Polaris as a 3959 like altitude object, it actually does work with a lot of components. Now, instead of a radius on a globe, could the 3959 be actually the distance from the ground to the sky? And then the 6210 would be the extent of how far we can see the sky in any circle around us, which does match, like you were saying, when you go 6,000 times 2, 12,000, that's half of the circumference, and then you double that, you get the 24,000 mile claim circumference, almost 25,000, because you get the 6,200, and then now you're at 12.4, and then you're at etc. And you double 12.4. So, yeah.
Yeah, that gives me the opportunity to say this as well. Like if Sigma Octantis is on the horizon, that means it's actually like the geographical position is below the globe, Oh,
well, I guess the thing I was saying, okay, if we see in a 12,000 mile diameter circle, roughly, that's half of what they claim the globe Earth is. So in the globe Earth, they have that 25,000 mile circumference. Half of that is going to be half the day. You know what I mean? So if we can see about a 12,000 mile section, that's how they break the globe up. So it's daytime on one side, nighttime on the other, vice versa. The kind of 12 and 12 cycle. Obviously that changes a little bit, but yeah, like that's how they're extrapolating that.
I'll get better at this.
So I'm just saying, like, if we see in a 6,200 mile radius from wherever we are on Earth at any one time, let's just say the furthest we ever could see is 6,210. Because I mean, if Polaris, sets there and we no longer can see Polaris, I guess you can go at altitude and see how much further can you see Polaris. We need to do that test actually. We need to throw a balloon up at least at like 130,000 feet, like south of the equator, and see how far we can actually see Polaris for. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, I would love high altitude shots of the stars, but NASA doesn't think that matters.
Yeah, we got to do it all ourselves. But anyways, if we see in like a 12,000 mile diameter, that matches with the day-night cycle is what I'm getting at, essentially. And so on with a planar surface, if we're always seeing a half of it, essentially, and then half the sky.
You're doing a good job explaining this.
Yeah, and then I mean the 3959, could that be like the actual level of if there's like a superfluid or some kind of a medium above us at some height that we can't necessarily even get to? Is that 3959? And then they've extrapolated that into the radius of the assumed sphere. See, they've extracted, I mean, these two numbers are part of this realm. That's what I'm saying. So I'm seeing what you guys think of that and like how those numbers, because the 6210 does seem to be the distance at which Polaris is no longer visible. And when you get to the equator, but that's also the case for any celestial body. Now, maybe if you go up at altitude, you might be able to stretch that a bit, but it depends on the time of year too, of course. The sun has different lighting patterns, but I'm just saying at the point of the equator in relation to Polaris, in that example.
Does anybody know of a test? Sorry. I was going to ask if anybody knows of a test where somebody gained altitude and changed the angle to a star, and it not being due to refraction or whatever.
even 10th Man and Oakley admit that it doesn't change.
I say that again?
Yeah, but shouldn't it on a globe? I mean, the angle changes when I walk like, a half a mile, right? So gaining altitude should change the angle.
Yeah, you're changing your radius.
You're not, when you go up, you're not changing orientation. When you go backwards and forwards, you are changing orientation.
Oh boy. Yeah, I was having this conversation the other day. You guys think that changing your position on the y-axis doesn't change the angle on the x-axis? That's the craziest thing you guys say, man.
Okay.
Like the distance doesn't change when you change your position along the y-axis.
I don't know what the y-axis is. Are you getting closer or further away, or are you going up?
Yeah, changing altitude from the center.
Yeah, it does not change the angle to a star.
That's just so... that just goes against everything we know about geometry.
No, it's not. The star's very, very, very far away.
Wow, that's cool, man.
How much would you expect it to change?
Well, what's funny is like you guys say it changes as I walk left, like laterally.
Yeah.
So
What
why
were the
wouldn't
words that
changing
came out of my
altitude
mouth
change the angle
literally
as
a minute
well?
ago, Jesse?
You know what it is, Roohif?
Bro, what the heck?
Roohif, over the planar stationary Earth, it's just light matter. It's all light matter
Jesse,
up there.
What were the words that came out of my mouth literally a minute ago? When you're walking towards or away from the star, why does it change the angle?
Wait, you didn't at least get my point? I was instead of dark matter, it's made of light matter. That's how the sky works.
Yep.
Light matter. It all works.
Roohif, why do you have to go against what's so obvious every time you're here?
Above the plane of
why can't you
existence.
understand plain words when spoken to you? You just had a fucking reset within 30 seconds.
Who are you talking to?
You should close whatever you're playing with and open up Walter Bislin's model so you can get a better understanding.
Okay. When I go up and down in altitude, I am not changing orientation. When I go forwards or away from a star, I am changing orientation. Okay, try not to forget this in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, changing your position laterally is low-key like changing your altitude. You're literally a different elevation relative to the star.
Okay.
It's the same thing, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, are you changing your altitude and moving around? Because I mean, if you're on some kind of rotating ball as well, like once your radius changes, it is actually a different angle that you're going to start making as you quote unquote orbit the globe rather than be on it on the hypothetical globe. You're increasing your radius, So if you're like 20,000 mile radius, as you move around that 20,000 mile radius, it is going to be different.
This is almost as bad as not having straight lines. You guys say that when you change your position along the y-axis, it doesn't change the angle of things along the axis. That is incorrect.
Can you say elevation instead of y-axis?
Dude, it's just going up. You're changing elevation relative to the center of mass in your model.
Right. And I'm not changing orientation.
In